Good afternoon. We're going to go ahead and get started with the March 9th, 2023 Special Magistrate hearing for Seminole County. My name is Sherry Sutphin, and I will be the Special Magistrate today. Before we get started, I want to go over a few procedures with you. This is a Government in the Sunshine Law, open government hearing and proceeding. So anyone who is going to speak, you need to register with the clerk if you haven't done so already. We need to make sure that we keep a record of anyone who does provide testimony or any kind of evidence today for the hearing. The cases won't be heard in the order that they are appearing on the agenda. We're going to hear them in the order of the individuals that are present, the order that they have come in today and signed in. We will then go back and hear the remaining cases after that. The way that this works is when it's your turn and your case is called, you'll have a seat at the table that's reserved for the respondent. The county will go first. They will provide their case. They have the burden of proving that you have, in fact, violated a county code. It will then be your turn. Witnesses that are presented can be cross-examined, of course, but this is a much less formal proceeding than a court proceeding. But after the close of both cases, I will make a decision here today. All of the proceedings are being recorded, so if you are providing testimony, please make sure that you speak into the microphone so that we can pick you up. And if you do need assistance, hearing impaired, or if there is a language barrier, please make sure that you let the clerk know so that we can accommodate that as well. Also, I would ask that you turn off any cell phones or electronic devices so that there is no interference while we are trying to conduct the hearings today. And again, if you have not gotten with the clerk yet, please do so and sign in so that we know you're present and we can call your case accordingly. Thank you. So we'll go ahead and start with the first case. Oh, we need to go ahead and swear in witnesses first. If you are going to provide any testimony, if you will stand and raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony that you will give here today to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Are they going to unmute these?
Now we'll call the first case. The first case we have is case number 22-57 CESM Jose Jimenez.
Yes, it is.
Yes, sir. And I'll remind you, sir, that you're under oath, and we'll go ahead and get started.
Vicki Hathaway, Building Inspector for Seminole County. The violation is in regards to offense. The case was originally heard by the Special Magistrate on June 9th of 2022, and an order was given the respondent of a compliance date of August 12th of 2022. An affidavit of noncompliance was filed by the inspector after the reinspection on August 6th of 2022. An affidavit of compliance was filed by the inspector after the permit was obtained on September 21st of 2022. The recommendation based on the findings of fact issued on June 9th of 2022. The Special Magistrate issues an order reducing the fines and the administrative costs totaling $642.22 and require those costs to be paid within 30 days or the fine will revert to the original amount of $1,650 and be imposed as a lien.
Okay. Mr. Jimenez, do you have anything that you'd like to add?
Oh my gosh. Excuse me, I don't speak too much English.
Okay, do we have the ability to help with translation or? Okay. Mr. Jimenez, can you lean into the mic when you're speaking?
It's not, I don't believe it's on.
Oh, it's not.
Over there.
Yes. And let me go ahead and swear you in from a standpoint of translation. Do you solemnly swear that you'll translate from English to Spanish and Spanish to English to the best of your ability?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sí. Y respondí la pregunta que ella me hizo.
Mr. Jimenez, if you'll speak into the mic, please.
Tiene que
Yes, okay.
hablar qué es lo que... He didn't understand the question that you asked him.
Okay, what I had asked, if he had anything to add after what was provided, and maybe you could summarize what was said to him.
Ellos lo que estaban diciendo era que estaban explicando el caso si tú tenías otra cosa más que añadir.
Yo estoy confundido porque me están hablando de la instalación del permiso de la cerca. Pues ya eso el inspector fue, lo chequeó. Entonces yo recibí otra violación de una estructura que
So he's confused because the inspector went to check the fence and he said everything was fine, and then he received another notice for a structure. So
I have it in here for a fence, installation of a fence.
So the case that is before us is simply for a fence.
The fence.
There could possibly be another matter, but
Okay.
the one that is before us is strictly the
just the
fence.
fence. So ellos lo que están diciendo, ellos lo que están lo de la cerca. So tú tienes algo que añadir. Esto no se está viendo ahora, solamente esto. So, ¿tú tienes algo que añadir sobre eso?
el inspector fue y chequeó la cerca. que-
El micrófono.
The inspector went to check the fence, and my neighbors have the permits for that. When I went, somebody told me the inspector gonna be at certain time. I waited for him there. He checked the fence, and he told me everything is fine.
It
Excuse
is
me.
now.
Yes.
It is now, but there was a period of time that you did not have a permit.
Oh, yeah. That
And
was-
so that's why
Oh.
the county is asking for their fees.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
tienes que pagar un número que ellos te van a dar hoy y era por el tiempo anterior que tú no tuviste un
Okay, I
permiso.
understand now.
Okay. Well, then I will go ahead and, do you have anything further that you want to add?
¿Hay algo más que quieras decir?
I want to ask you about
Eso no se puede hacer ahora.
I received another notice that I got a violation in a structure on the back of the building.
So you will have to get with the county
Sí, eso no
related
lo
to
puede
that
hacer.
separate from here.
Eso no lo puedes hacer aquí ni preguntar nada. Eso tienes que ir a donde ella a preguntarle después, pero aquí no lo puedes hacer. Solamente estamos haciendo
The fence.
este,
Okay.
the fence.
So the case on the fence is already done, right?
Well, we're here today, but you do have a permit for it, and it's, as far as that goes, you've done everything you needed to do. But we're here today because of you not having a permit for a period of time.
So, en ese periodo de tiempo que tú no tuviste un permiso, por esa es la razón que estamos aquí. Pero ya como tienes un permiso, pues estás bien, pero como quiera tienes que pagar una fianza.
Okay, but my neighbor told me that that's the fence is on the property. When I bought the property, the fence was there, and he looking for a permit, and he saw the permit and showed to somebody here in the county. And when the inspector went to there, just checking it, what about my neighbor told about that, and everything was fine.
I'm not sure, are you talking about your neighbor had a permit for your fence?
They said that they put the fence on my property, but the county told me that I gotta take the fence down. But I come over here, and somebody told me that in the lobby, that I had to talk to my neighbor. I went to my neighbor, and my neighbor told me I bought the house last year, and I think I have the permit for that the fence. And 2 or 3 days he called me, and he told me that they found the permit and took somebody here in the county.
Can I just read the notes from the file case?
Absolutely.
It says in 9/21 of 22, permit 224359 was issued and corrects the violation. Thomas Harding of 1960 Bearview Drive provided survey dated 1/18/21, which shows the fence on his property. Jose Jimenez of 2805 Oronal provided survey showing fences on his property, which was approved via permit 224359. The fence is technically permitted on both properties based on the surveys provided. Upon review of pictometry confirmed that the fence is on both addresses, splitting them up, and has been permitted. Okay to close the case. Affidavit of compliance has been filed.
And that permit was received when?
I don't know when, let me see, the survey dated was 1821. 28 doesn't have a date in here when that permit was received. They're just case notes that we have in here.
So was the case that was originally heard in June of this year, had the permit been received prior to that, and we just didn't have evidence of it?
It does not appear to be so. The fence is on both property lines, so if you're looking at it, you don't know whose fence it is at that point in time. So it's a shared fence. Both properties would have to be permitted to have the fence on both properties. It's got to be one or the other.
So both properties have to pay for a permit for the
Correct.
fence, even though there's one fence?
Correct. If it's splitting the properties
Okay.
on both properties. You could have one corner on one property, one corner on the other property, which says technically this so much footage is of this property, this so much footage is of the other property.
So the original neighboring property had the original permit, and then this permit was brought the entire fence into compliance.
Correct.
Once this permit was received in 2022.
Correct. We don't allow typically properties like that unless they're going to share that difference, because when it goes to sell the property, then it's hard to divide that up and figure out whose property is it on.
Okay. Can you explain that to him, please?
Lo que pasa es que cuando tú tienes una cerca y tú la divides, tienes que sacar 2 permisos diferentes, aunque sea la misma cerca. Porque tú no puedes dividir unos metros para este lado y unos metros para el otro lado cuando o tú quitas la cerca o la reemplazas o algo así. Por eso es que ahora mismo ellos están viniendo sobre esto porque tú no tuviste un permiso, ellos tuvieron el permiso. Porque si ellos no hubiesen tenido el permiso tampoco, ellos también tuvieron que estar aquí. Pero como se hizo una cerca nada más, tú no tuviste el permiso, ellos sí lo tuvieron, tú estás en penalidad.
Excuse me, if you look at the pictures of the front of the house, there's also fencing there as well, not just in the back half of the house. So we're looking at the perimeter of the property being permitted completely, regardless of whose fence is in the back, but still, it has to be corrected with a permit.
Okay.
I was living there when the person did the fence. I bought the property after that.
And sir, unfortunately, that's your responsibility to make sure that when you buy a property, that it's properly permitted as well. What the county is asking is that the fines just be reduced to the administrative costs, which are their time associated with following through with the case to get it into compliance. You want to let him?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, ellos lo que ahora, como ya toda la evidencia salió, pues te van a dar un costo administrativo, que es lo que tienes que pagar por el tiempo de ellos, por tratar de que el caso sea compliance con las regulaciones del county. So, tú porque cuando tú compras una propiedad es tu responsabilidad de asegurarte que esa propiedad sea compliance todas las estructuras que tiene la casa. So es tu responsabilidad and the end of the day. So
But I didn't know that I wasn't when on the rider when I signed the paperwork for the buy of the house. There is nothing about it. They say nothing about it.
And that, sir, that would be something that you would have to speak to your title company about. That is your responsibility as purchasing a home.
eso tienes que ir con la persona que tú compraste la casa o firmaste el título o algo así. Tienes que ir directamente a ellos y es algo tu responsabilidad. Nosotros en el county no tenemos esa responsabilidad.
Okay, that's fine.
So what the county is requesting is a reduction to $642.22.
Lo que ellos están pidiendo son $642.
And if that amount is not paid in 30 days,
Si esa cantidad no está pagada en 30 días,
that it would revert back to $1,650.
sería entonces $1,600.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Understand.
So I'm going to go ahead and order that fines in the amount of $642.22 be imposed, representing the costs associated with this matter, that if that amount is not paid within 30 days, the fine will revert back to $1,650 and be imposed as a lien on the property.
He has a question. ¿Cuál es la pregunta?
Yes, I bought here because I got another citation for today. For today about the structure is in the back of the house. They say it's in violation. I didn't know that.
Let me see.
Okay, so that particular violation is separate from this fence case, so would ask that you speak to the county outside of this hearing, and they will help you with that.
On the lobby right there? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. But the citation is for today.
That stop work order is for
It
today?
says the case number 2257.
Oh, that's
Is it for
this one.
today also?
Can I see it?
Okay, so that is pertaining to this case, and it's construction of a fence without a permit. So probably the fence part didn't get put on there, it was just the construction of, but it's related to the permit that
So-
you're here today on. So this case will be concluded.
Sería lo mismo. So, are we? Ya podría volver otra vez para tu asiento. Pero esto es lo de ahora, lo de la construcción de la verja.
Okay. Y esto, porque estoy citado para esto también.
No, pero esto.
Es hoy también. Okay, sí, sí.
Okay.
Good? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, our next case is 2022-104 CESM, James and Linda Cram. Okay, good afternoon. I'll remind you, you're both under oath. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. For the record, the name is Vicki Hathaway, Building Inspector for Seminole County. This is being heard in regards to installation of 2 sheds, a barn-style accessory structure, 2 carports, pole barn, porch attached to a mobile office, a playhouse, small accessory structure, and access control units. The violation is Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1, construction without the required permits. The case was originally heard by the special magistrate on December 8th of 2022. An order was issued giving the respondent a compliance date of March 9th, 2023. The respondents are requesting additional time at this time to comply.
And that's all you
That
have.
completes, correct.
Yeah, there's a lot involved in this one. So,
Ma'am, if you'll state your name, please, for the record.
my name is Linda Cram,
Okay.
and I'm ill-prepared. I didn't know I'd be here today because I didn't realize what it took to get an extension on this when I spoke to, you're not the magistrate that I saw in December, are you?
No. no,
Okay,
ma'am.
so there was a long story with all of that, but she was very kind. It was very nice. I told her, I said, we have all of these structures. Several of them were contracted with people. I did actually get the engineered drawings. It took a little while to get all of the drawings for 2 carports, an RV carport, 2 sheds, all of the aluminum structures. I submitted requests and got the drawings. It took me forever to find an engineer that would take this on because some of these buildings are more than 20 years old. I finally did get the man who would agree to do that for me. Once I had everything, he came to once I had the drawings from the companies who built for us, he met me at the property. We went over everything. He agreed to take it on, what he asked me to do, and now I'm going to kind of just skip everything before that from December forward when we came in for the original hearing. After that time, I met with the man. He came out. He walked the property with me. He told me what we could do to speed this up as far as he was concerned, which was to give him, to help him with the scope of work because he was going to assign it to a draftsman, that we needed to do sketches of each of these things, to give him some rough measurements, to take a zillion pictures of fasteners and tie downs and everything else that he needed. After we did all of that, we sketched out everything we had to do. I met with him. I gave it back to him. After that, he brought his draftsman out. He spent a whole day at the property, walked the whole property so that his draftsman could get an understanding of what he needed to do. Forgive me, I just made these notes last night. We did everything he needed. I gave him everything he needed in the first week of December. The engineer and the draftsman walked the property. They came back several days later with an estimate of $15,580 to do updated drawings on the ones I provided and to do brand-new drawings for the structures that didn't have that. I gave him the deposit 3 days later for half of it, which is what he requested, and then he said that he would get that in his queue of work as quickly as he could. He told me at the time that the gentleman was on something that was like, whoever it was he was assigning was on a project he had to finish before he started ours. That was about mid-February. I realized, and then of course I've asked him over time, just please let me know what's going on. Please tell me what you need, what we can do. And I told him, bear in mind, here's my deadline with the county. I said, the magistrate told me that it shouldn't be a problem if I needed an extension because of the huge volume of things that we're trying to permit and do drawings for. And I said, and after his time to do this, I have to have time to make those changes, like add tie downs to the carports that need it because it had 3, now it needs 5, or whatever it was. When I spoke to the engineer and when I spoke to Kyle, who it took me a couple days to find out he wasn't here anymore. I was trying to message his phone to say, where are you, what do I do? But Kyle had also said that it was better for me to make whatever the changes are, whatever is required to make things compliant, submit the permit application, submit the drawings, and have those changes done so that the county then comes out, inspects it, it meets code, and it passes without failing it, resubmitting, coming back, whatever. Engineer said the same thing. He said, let me give you our recommendations for what you have to do, so you can make those changes, and then we'll submit it all back. Now, as of last week, I was trying to get hold of Kyle. I was trying to get hold of the engineer. Engineer called me on Friday. He said to me at that time that he had some issues, timing frame, whatever, with his staff. He said that he expected that within 6 weeks, and this is as of last Friday, within 6 weeks, he should have everything, his end of this done. I said, okay, 6 weeks. He said, on the outside, maybe sooner. He can't, obviously, he can't tell me what another guy is going to take to get something accomplished. But I said, okay, well, 6 weeks. I said, but then I need a little bit of time. I spoke to a lady at the shed company that we bought our sheds and carports from, and I said, I'm going to need to hire a shed company to put the extra tie downs in, or whoever. We'll do everything we can do. I'll have to hire whoever has to do what I can't do. I don't have the drill that puts the anchors in or whatever. But just the time beyond whatever the engineer takes to hand me his portion of this to make those changes and make them compliant and then submit everything. So that's where we are right now. So
So let me ask the county, is that correct? Would you like the work to be done prior to the permits being submitted?
I don't usually recommend that as a building inspector. The permits, once they're issued, regardless of what kind of inspection that's going to happen, typically closes out the case. So the faster you can get your permits issued, the faster your case is completely closed. Now, at that point in time, whether you keep an open permit on your property, that's your business or not. We're not following up and tracking those down. But if it is a code case, and I don't know where the violations came in from, they may have come from somebody reporting it, then they typically are the ones who watch it. But I always tell everybody, just get the permit first. Deal with the issues later. You have 6 months when a permit is issued in order to bring it into compliance to where you can pass an inspection.
So compliance in this situation
Is a
meant
permit.
just pulling the permit?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Are you in a position right now where you can pull the permits?
I mean, what I've done, because there's so many structures, there's so many things here, I have a folder for each one. I have a permit, the permit application started for all of them with everything that I could put in there. It would probably, all of this paperwork is in Citrus County right now at the place that I'm staying, so I don't have it here in Sanford. I'll have to go get it all, finish those. This, and this isn't you guys, obviously, but this is like, the whole thing comes from just listening to bad advice for like ever since we bought this property. But I can finish all of those applications and turn them all in. I just was under the impression that I'm going to file for that, or because they're existing structures, I was thinking they want to come out and look at them, and they're going to fail because they're not current code. They're not wind rated or whatever it is, they're not current. So that's why I was thinking, I don't need them to look at them and fail me because I know they're going to fail. You know, the ones that I already have drawings for, let's put it that way, because they're like 2015 and 2017 or something like that. But whatever I need to do, of course, that's what I'm going to do. If it's just a matter of having an application submitted for each of the things, sure, I can do that. You know, and then as the engineer does his thing here, and you said that gives me 6 months?
Correct.
I mean, I'm thinking hopefully 60 days is going to get it done if he's no longer than.
A permit issued closes your case.
Okay, then that's what I'm going to do, because I have the applications for each one of these things.
So how long would it take you to make that submission?
The end of next week. Like I
Okay.
say, I started them, and they're all filled out with the information that I had, at the time, to make sure that I accounted for all of the structures and all of the things. I just have to finish those out, and then he can bring them here and whatever he has to do then.
To be submitted, plans will be required, okay, to get the permit. The details can come back and forth later with that, but getting the permit issued is one thing. The other option I tell people to is take the structure down, permit it, and then start from the beginning.
Can't do that. I mean, some of this stuff is like site-built things, they're.
Correct.
I mean, I guess my thing there is I can submit the plans that I received for the buildings, the aluminum buildings and the carports that were given to me by the manufacturers of those. I have nothing to submit with this, like my pump house and my garage, and I have nothing until the engineer actually produces those drawings.
I would submit what you can submit.
Okay, all right. So, but if I don't have the drawings, don't submit that one yet, or?
Chances are, if you've got a structure, they're going to require drawings. We can't
Okay.
review something that we
No,
don't know what we're
I've
reviewing.
got that. That's my whole thing here is like this 2, 4, 5 of these items are things that I have old plans for at the time they were built. The rest of them have nothing. So I can turn in the ones for the aluminum structures that were provided to me by the shed companies and stuff, but they're out of date.
And you said that the engineer is still going to take 6 more weeks?
That's what he told me Friday. He told me that Friday, and what he's doing with the items that I already have the drawings for the 5 or 6 items that I have drawings for, he's reviewing those, creating his engineered drawings that note the change. He's telling me what the changes for those items will be to meet code now. So
So does the county have an objection to an extension of time under the testimony that's been provided related to the engineer taking longer?
The building official has said no more time. He stated the other day when we met in regards to these cases. The case was originally opened up, I want to say, May of 25 of 22, and so far we've not received one permit for it yet at this point in time.
And I will apologize for that, because he received all of this and he was just overwhelmed. He did not know what to think. He just didn't know. He when he finally did tell me about it, I was like, we got to do this right now. It's just, we got to, it's an overwhelming amount of stuff, when you're handed that and say, the swing set and that set of stairs over there and this and, he was just overwhelmed.
So between, though, May, when this case was originally opened and contact was made with you, till December, nothing was done?
Well, it wasn't.
I had problems trying to
Sir,
get
can
a
you-
hold of Kyle,
Can you state your name for the record, please?
James Cram. I had problems trying to get a hold of Kyle. All I got was things dropped at the gate. Some of them I didn't even find for 3 or 4 days.
Now, that's a problem with our gate. It gets in the weeds. But all of that aside, we're not going to make excuses for what we didn't do. I mean, that's crazy, but it just became one of those, time got away from him, and then when he finally said, I need some help with this stuff, because I take care of a gentleman in Citrus County, so I'm not there full-time. So when he finally did tell me about what was going on, we got on it. But it was, the hearing was December. We were actually on this sooner than that, because I met with the engineer. We started on this, it wasn't even that, it was like August, I think. I want to say, and again, I don't have all my stuff with me. I think it was August when we got started on this, and I submitted all the paperwork to you guys so you could see the timeline of everything that I was doing, trying to find the engineer and trying to line up whoever. Nobody wants to do this stuff. You tell them you got a 20-year-old garage, they don't want to make drawings for it. I felt like I hit the jackpot when I found this man, because he's super knowledgeable and he's very sweet, and he said, sure, I'll do it. And I'm like, thank you. But it did start a couple August, I want to say August. I have to look again at my notes, but it wasn't not doing something from that point forward. I was trying to find the people, and I was trying to read up and know what I had to do, and contacting the shed people and contacting the carport people, and I had to repay for our big RV carport. I had to pay another $400 or something to get the plans for that, because that was custom built. But it was an ongoing process of trying to pull all those ends together. And I think that the magistrate in December said that I may be the only one that actually received plans they requested from these companies. She said she thought that was like a first. I said, well, if you get pushy enough, they'll give you what you want if you have to pay for it. But so we didn't just ignore it till December. We were on that, from the time he finally did tell me that we had an issue, starting to look for people to handle what we needed to have done. And take a look at the stuff to see, do we need it, tear it down. If it's something that's not going to pass or not part of something we're keeping, get rid of that. Tear it down, make it safe, do that kind of stuff. So this has been going since probably August. I have to say it was August. I could give you a date if I don't have my paperwork, though.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I am very mindful of the fact that it's hard to get people to work right now, all around. So I'm going to hold you to the 6 weeks, but I'm not going to give you any more time than that.
Yeah.
So you need to go to your engineer, and you need to let him know that you're given 45 days
Right.
of an extension. So that will expire April 23rd,
Okay.
2023. You need to have your permits in. I suggest the ones that you have plans for, you start submitting those now, as
Okay.
quickly as you can.
I can do those,
As
but they're-
quickly as you get them in, you submit them.
They're outdated, so I'll submit what the companies gave me, because like I say, it's 2015 code is what they're going to match, so.
Well, the building code doesn't change every year, so you need to submit them,
Yeah.
and let's get these going. And I will note that outside of some extreme emergency circumstances, that additional time
Okay.
should not be given. I do find that your testimony reflects that you have been working toward this, but I think that May and August, there's some gap between May and August where no work
I
was
get
being
it.
done.
I get
So
it.
that's why I'm not willing to go more than 45 days.
Right.
But you'd have an extension through 45 days, and at that time, the previous fine that was imposed would start to run.
Okay, yeah, like I say, when I talked to him on Friday, and he said, well, I'll call them if they need me to, I said, I don't think they're going to call me a liar. I'm going to relate just exactly what you say to me, because I'm at your mercy, but I'll tell him that's what's required. It's a lot of money. This total bill on this is $15,500, so.
Well,
We're not finished yet.
you can have till the 23rd of
Thank you.
April.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You want these back?
No.
The next case is going to be 2336 CESM, Patrick and Nicole McCarthy. Mr. McCarthy, is that you?
Yes, I am Patrick.
Okay, I'll remind you that you're under oath. We're going to go ahead and get started.
Vicki Hathaway, Building Inspector. I have presented a copy of the presentation to the clerk and request it be entered into the record. Case number 2336 CESM for the property located at 400 East Hill Street, Altamont Springs, which is owned by Patrick and Nicole McCarthy Jr. The violation charge is Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Section 105.1. Description of violation is installation of a fence without the required permits. Next screen shows the initial inspection was done on 10/24/22. Notice to the respondent went out on 10/25/22, giving them a compliance date of 12/20/22. Follow-up inspections as shown, both the site visit and via computer, there also as well. Results of the inspection, the violation remains on the property. This is a screenshot from the property appraiser's website that shows Patrick and Nicole McCarthy Jr. are the record property owners. This photograph showing the posting of the notice for the hearing on the property, which was done on 2/22/23. Next picture shows the fence violation taken on 10/24/22. Next picture here shows the fence violation taken on 12/5/22. Next shot shows the fences in violation taken on 12/22 again. This screen here is the permit screen. Are we on the wrong one? Okay. Yep, there we go. This screen shows no permits applied for or issued to correct the violation. Permit 214877 is for removing and replacing a soffit. Permit number 21733 or 773 is for the re-roof. This is a copy that shows Chapter 40 of which they are in violation of. The recommendation, based on the testimony and the evidence presented in this case number 2336 CESM, it is determined that the respondents are Patrick and Nicole McCarthy Jr., the owners of the record of the property located at 400 East Hill Street, Altamont Springs, in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, is in possession and control of the property and in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Section Appendix A, Section 105.1. It is further recommended that the special magistrate order the respondent to correct the violation on or before. In order to correct the violation, the respondent shall obtain a permit for the cited violation. If the respondents do not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or are repeated after compliance. The respondents must contact the inspector to verify compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Mr. McCarthy, if you'll state your name for the record,
Patrick McCarthy.
and do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yes, I received this back in October, and I have made several attempts to get a hold of somebody, call, leave messages. The pictures that I have received were not of my property or my fence. The new fence pictures you have in here are not my property. My fence, mine, if you look at it, is the one that looks about 6 years old, because that is when I did do that fence after a storm blew it down. I asked about permitting with someone, and they said like for like. I was leaving some posts, just replacing panels then, that they said that a permit was not required for that. And that was of 19 or 2018 that fence had went in. But the new fence pictures that you have are all not of my property. So I have been trying to call, leave messages as well, get as much information as I can, trying to figure out what to do with no response back.
Okay, let me just look. There's no permit for any fence on the property at all.
Okay.
I don't know about the pictures. I apologize. I've stepped back into this role. I will say that any fence that's on the property is required to be permitted at this point in time, whether it's from 2019 or 2023.
Okay. The other-
I don't know who you were calling. I'm looking at the case notes, and I'm not seeing anything in here. We typically are really good at making sure that we keep everything up to date. The complaint came in actually from code enforcement from the sheriff's department's office. I'm not seeing any phone calls or any responses
The
from,
number that was originally given in that letter is who I'd called, and then tried to call Kyle, that it said it was on there,
okay,
to no avail. I did receive one call back from somebody at some point, and I explained to them that this was not my fence, and they told me that it was. We will resend it. There was a person in my side yard in the first week or two of December taking pictures, and then I went to talk with that guy, but he had left, and then, yeah, I got another picture. Like I said, this is not my fence.
For the record, we'll reflect that you're showing the newer fence that's been
Correct.
shown. Can you, you said someone was in your side yard taking pictures. Is this fence in your side yard?
This is on the side, Crestview Street side. So when we had purchased this house, that fence was always there. And then that spring, after we had purchased it in 18, there was a storm that blew some panels down.
No, that's not what I'm asking.
Oh.
The new fence that is in that picture that
It's
you,
not
is
my
it in
yard.
your side yard?
No, ma'am, this is, I believe, down the road, actually, maybe on Citrus Street
Okay,
or
so
something.
this is not, this fence is nowhere near your property?
No.
However, if you flip to the next page, is the fence that's shown to the right of the house, is that your fence?
That is my fence.
Okay, and then in the next page, it's shown to the right of the house again?
That is my fence.
Okay. And there's not a permit for that fence? Is that correct?
I had never drawn a permit for that. I was under the assumption that like for like, pulling a post, putting a post in, replacing some panels, and leaving 4 or 5 of the other posts that were already there, pre-existing, in place, did not require a permit.
They were in place when you purchased the home?
Yes, the fence was in place there when I purchased the home.
And when you
A couple
purchased-
panels by the gate had just fallen during a storm, so I had replaced all the panels, but left the posts from the house to the corner and the 2 or 3 end ones on the south side of that street. All in all, I replaced 5 of the 10 or 11 posts and the panels.
And did you check to see if there was a permit for the fence when you purchased the home?
I did not.
Okay. And the records do not reflect a permit
there
for
is
the
no
fence?
permit for the fence.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you have anything further that you'd like to add?
So next time, I have to look to any permits drawn on a house that I purchased or something?
It is certainly recommended.
I was unaware of that. I just figured a fence fell, and that I did not need a permit for replacing panels and doing like for like.
For the record, the building official that's in place right now, currently, if you replace more than one fence panel, it requires a permit, more than one.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
Do you have anything further that you'd like to add?
No, I guess that would be it.
Okay. I'm going to accept the electronic case file into the record with the exception of the one photo that has been identified as not being Mr. McCarthy's fence. So I will not accept that into evidence. I will find that proper notice has been given and that Mr. McCarthy will be required to obtain a permit for the fence by April 14th, 2023, or a fine in the amount of $50 a day will be imposed thereafter. Thank you. Okay, the next case is case number 2334, CESM Kevin King.
2334. Okay.
And your name, please?
Stacy King.
Okay, and do you have, your name is not on the title for the home?
No.
Have you been given authorization?
Not written authorization, but he's my husband.
Okay,
He just had back surgery, so he's not able to attend, but
okay. Does the county have any objection to her providing testimony
I
on
don't.
his behalf?
I don't.
Okay. All right. The county will go first. Thank you.
Okay. For the record, the name is Vicki Hathaway, Building Inspector. I presented a copy of this presentation to the clerk and requested that it be entered into for record. Case number 2334 CESM is for the property located at 3200 West Osceola Road, Geneva, which is owned by Kevin P. King. The violation charge is Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Description of the violation is installation of a mobile home without the required permits. Next screen shows the case summary as follows. The initial inspection was done on 8/24 of '22. Notice to the respondent went out on 8/24/22, giving them a compliance date of 12/1/22. Follow-up inspections are shown both on site and via computer. Results of the inspection, the violation remains on the property. This is a screenshot from the property appraiser's website showing Kevin P. King as the record owner of the property. This is a photograph showing the posting of the notice for this hearing on this property, which was done on 2/22/23. This is a picture of the mobile home that was taken on 8/24/22. Another one on 8/24/22. The screenshot here shows multiple door hangers that were left on 9/22 of '22, 11/14 of '22, and 12/19 of '22. Again, another picture of the mobile home that was taken on 8/24/22. The screen shows the application was received on 8/23 of '22 to correct the violation. This application is currently under review and has not been issued a permit as of now. There is one permit that we currently have, which is 22-16729, is an electrical permit. This next shot or screenshot shows a copy of the application and the date applied for. Plan tracking information permit is in PC status, which means plan check. I apologize for that. Needing corrections from multiple departments since 9/1 of '22. The date applied for was 8/23/22. This is a screenshot of the Seminole County Chapter 40 Appendix A regarding the permitting process and the violation. The next screen, the recommendation shows that based on the testimony and the evidence presented in the case number 2334 CESM, it is determined that the respondent is the owner of the located property at 3200 West Osceola Road, Geneva, in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, is in possession or control of the property and in violation of the Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. It is further recommended that the special magistrate order the respondent to correct the violation on or before 30 to 60 days here, April 14th of 2023. In order to correct the violation, the respondent shall obtain the required permits for the cited violation. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. The respondent also must contact the inspector to verify compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Ma'am, if you'll state your name again for the record, please.
Stacy King. Okay, so we hired a mobile home mover to move this home and apply for the permits. I couldn't apply for it myself. The only thing I could do is apply for, get the septic tank approved, which I did, turned everything over to the mobile home mover. We weren't aware that the permits weren't acquired, which is some stupidity on our part. I've been in contact with Kyle. So we got the violation, our property flooded. We live on the St. Johns River. There wasn't nothing that we could really do. And then I didn't know that the mobile home mover didn't submit all of this information that he was supposed to submit until January. I came down to the county and had a meeting with one of the people. Didn't bring the paperwork. He does with the flood zones, because I'm in a flood zone. I met with him, I went upstairs, met with the people upstairs. They gave me some information and recommended that I actually just take this off of the property and move it to another property that I have off of Skyway Drive. Because of all the flood zone requirements and the fact that I got this manufactured home for my mother and my grandmother to stay in because both of them are ill. I would have to get special approval every year for this manufactured home, which the county told me upstairs, that's really not feasible. You have this other nice piece of property, how, think about moving it there, which is right down the road. I have a site surveyor coming out to survey that property on Monday, so that I can then put the paperwork application in that the county provided me to actually get a permit for that property and have this moved. And I don't want to take it off and move it, because then I'm going to be in the same predicament that I'm in, but I should have my permit application applied for by the end of next week to have this off and move to.
Is anyone living on the
Nobody-
property?
I live on the property. I live in a house. My house.
Okay.
I live in a concrete block house, and this was just going to be for medical purposes. But after going through this for months and the mobile home movers haven't even called me back. So after dealing with the county and talking to them, I'm just going to not even apply for the special exception and just move it to a property I own on Skyway Drive.
So removing the mobile home altogether would comply as well?
It would still need to be permitted if it's in Seminole County.
Yeah, it's going to be moved to Seminole
No,
County.
but I'm saying removing it off this property would comply this property.
Correct.
That it would need another permit
Correct.
in its other location. Okay. Do you think that you can get all of that accomplished in order to be able to move it by April 14th?
Not by April 14th. They'll have the survey done on Monday, which takes about 2 days to get back. It's a 5-acre parcel, so it has another manufactured home on it, where I'm going to apply to remove that and replace it with a newer one. So I could have the paperwork submitted, but I can't tell you that the county's going to have the permit ready by April 14th and for me to move it, because again, I, as the homeowner, can't pull the permit to move the manufactured home. I have to have a manufactured home mover, which I've already been in contact with a whole different one. So if I could get a couple of months, I mean, nobody lives in the house. It's sitting there vacant. It hasn't even been touched since they put it together.
So does the county have an objection to, if it's a couple of months, you mean a couple of months from today?
Yeah.
So does the county have any objection to 60 days, which would be May 8th, as long as the property remains unoccupied, the mobile home remains unoccupied?
Excuse me. According to the building official, the homeowner can pull the permit for the mobile home. She just has to have it installed by a mobile home contractor.
So she can get the permit, she just
Correct.
can't move it herself.
Correct.
And
And if there's one coming off the property, then you're required to pull a demolition permit.
Right, yeah, I spoke to the people upstairs, I don't remember what his name is. He gave me all the packet of paperwork to apply for to have the old one removed and replaced with this newer one. So I have the paperwork, I just need the survey because I have to obviously submit the survey, which has taken me a few weeks to get the surveyor out there to get it done.
so then, as long as the house remains unoccupied, or the mobile home remains unoccupied, does the county have any objection to 60 days as opposed to just 30 days? The 60 days would put us at May 8th, 2023.
The building official originally requested 30 days. He's going to come up and speak now.
Can I go ahead and swear you in?
This is Bob Pike, building official, Seminole County.
Can I swear you in? Do you solemnly
certainly.
swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Just to clarify what Ms. Vicky was saying, a owner-builder can pull a mobile home permit, but she has to have a mobile home installer listed as a sub, okay? Now, if you remove the trailer off the property, that will take care of the code violation.
But if I remove the trailer off the property and move it to the other property, now I'm going to be in violation on that property. So kind of doesn't make sense to move it and then just be in violation on this property when I didn't know, I wasn't aware. When I tried to apply for this original permit, when the manufactured home company was taking a little bit of time, I asked and they said that he had to pull the permit, not me, which I'll be more than happy to get all the permit applied for the new property. As soon as I get my survey, I'll do all that myself, because this is just, with JNS Mobile Home Service, this has just been a ride, an expensive ride.
I understand. You can certainly move the mobile home to another property as long as you don't hook it up. As long as it just sits there, then it's not a violation. Once it gets hooked up, it's set up as a, taken off its, on its piers, on the wheels. The wheels are, when its trailer is set up, it's set up generally on blocks, and that's installed by an installer and has straps on it to keep it down for uplift. So, but if it's sitting there on its wheels and it's not hooked up, then we don't have an issue with that. It's just when it gets installed and it's set up and then you have electric to it, that's a problem with that
Gotcha.
permit.
I guess my other concern, though, is does it violate another county code by just being parked there? I know it may not violate the building code, but does it violate another county code to have her move it and park it somewhere for 30 days?
I would recommend you get with planning and zoning on that, because they were the ones that would have the developmental code if there is an issue for that.
Yeah, see, that concerns me, that she would take it, move it to this other location, not hook it up, but potentially be in violation for 30 more days until she could get the survey.
I don't know if we have anybody here from planning and zoning that can answer that. We do not. What I can recommend is speak to the planner of the day up there at planning and zoning. They're on the second floor. While you're here, you can certainly go up there and speak with them on that.
In that event, though, would the county have an objection to me providing her with 60 days so that she can make sure that she complies with all of the various codes?
I'm okay with 60 days, as long as she shows that she's actually moving forward and to get that end result.
Okay. Then that's what I'll go ahead and do. I'll order you to come into compliance by Monday, May 8th, 2023, or incur a fine of $50 a day for each day thereafter. And I also want the mobile home to remain unoccupied.
It's not even livable at this point. They literally just stuck it together and sealed it, and
Okay.
then, so it's never been occupied. It's still even dirty.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Okay, the next case we have is 2333 CESM Andrew Gottschall and Marta Barcia.
20, I apologize. What was the number? I'm sorry.
2333.
Thank you.
And ma'am, if you'll state your name for the record, please.
My name is Maria Aravallo. I'm the owner of On the Line Fence.
And you are the contractor, and you have provided us with a power of attorney, is that correct?
Yes, I'm another, like a separate contractor from the one that installed the fence. I'm trying to help them resolve the issue.
Okay.
I'll look at the screen.
And you're sworn?
Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, for the record, the name is Vicki Hathaway, Building Inspector. I presented a copy of this presentation into the clerk and request that it be entered into record. Case number 2333 CESM is for property located at 1252 Valley Creek Run, Winter Park, which is owned by Andrew Gottschall and Marta Barcia. The violation charged Seminole County Code Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Description of the violation is the wooden fence replaced with vinyl fence without the required permits. This is a screenshot that shows a case summary as follows. An initial inspection was done on 6/16 of '22. Notice to the respondent went out on the same day. Compliance date was given of 12/2/22. Follow-up inspections show both the site visits and via computer inspections. Result of reinspection, the violation remains on the property. This is a screenshot of the property appraiser showing that Andrew Gottschall and Marta Barcia are the record owners of the property. Photographs showing the posting of the notice for this hearing on the property, which was done on 2/21 of '23. This is an aerial photograph showing the fencing images from 1/31/22. Okay, next one. All right, this is a photograph showing the fence taken on 10/11 of '22. Next screenshot is the fence taken on 11/14 of '22. And the fence taken on 12/14 of '22. Okay, 1 second, please. This screen shows no permits applied for or issued to correct the violations. The 22-20211 fence permit application and PC status since 12/8 of '22 for zoning corrections submitted by the contractor. 22-17-982 is a gazebo permit application. Gazebo has since been removed from the property as variance was denied. 22-17-91 is a fence permit sitting in PC status since 6/29 of '22 for zoning corrections submitted by owner. Variance application for fence setbacks was denied on 10/24 of '22. And 22-4419 is a fence permit voided at request of a contractor who did not complete the work. This next screenshot shows a copy of the permit application 22-20211 submitted on 12/2 of '22. Plan tracking information is still sitting in PC status since 12/8 of '22 for zoning corrections. Date applied for 12/2 of '22. After plan review by Planning and Development, applicant needs a variance to keep the fence. Variance application was denied on October 24th of 2022. This is a screenshot. This is a copy of the new variance application for April 24th of 2023 meeting. This is a screenshot of the Seminole County Chapter 40 Appendix A regarding the permitting process. The recommendation, based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 2333, CESM, it is determined that the respondents are the owners of the record of the property located at 1252 Valley Creek Run, Winter Park, in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession or control of the property, and in violation of the Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. It is further recommended that the special magistrate order the respondents to correct the violation on or before May 12th of 2023. In order to correct the violation, the respondents shall obtain the required permits for the cited violation. If the respondents do not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. The respondents must contact the inspector to verify compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am, if you'll state your name for the record.
Maria Arevalo.
Do you have anything that you'd like to add?
Just pretty much that we are in process. Part of the issue was that the survey that they presented when they went to the variance was not in line with the property lines. There were some issues there. So this is where I met the homeowner, and I offered my assistance to her because this is what I do for my personal clients to avoid these types of issues. So we have since gotten a new survey. The permit that Vicki was mentioning is one that we opened, because the way that we do the process is we open the permit first, wait for them to reject it, and then start the variance process. And we have started that process. So we're already in for the April 24th meeting, and would just like an extension to be able to re-represent the case to the board, and hopefully we can get this matter resolved. The thing with her property, and I'll just tell you guys this, is that there is a 25-foot setback from the property line. Even if we move the fence, we still have to get a variance no matter what, because her pool runs into that 25 feet. So there's a little bit more issues there, which she didn't even, I mean, she was clueless basically, because she was told by the other fence company, like, oh yeah, we'll put the fence up and the rest is your business to deal with later. So this is later. But if we could have that extension to be able to present all the documents to the board and give us until May the 12th, that would be greatly appreciated.
So you're fine with the May the 12th?
Yeah, that's
date?
perfect, because we will know that day.
Okay.
We'll know that day
Okay.
if we're approved or not.
All right, fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and accept the electronic case file into the record and order that the property be brought into compliance by receiving a permit for the fence by May 12th, 2023. And if the permit is not received by May 12th, 2023, that the property fine will be imposed of $50 a day for each and every day thereafter.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sounds fair. Thank you.
That's all. And just for the record, I want to go back on the 2023-34, the Kevin King case. I do accept the electronic case file into the record on that one as well. I don't think I said that. So, okay, the next case that we have, Thomas Courtwright Jr., case number 22103.
Okay.
And Mr. Courtwright, I'll remind you that you're under oath.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
This is a special request. Vicki Hathaway for the record, building inspector for Seminole County, in regards to Thomas J. Courtwright Jr. at 5675 Deer Path Lane, Sanford, Florida 32771. The remodel of an interior of a garage into an apartment, including plumbing, electrical, HVAC, spray foam insulation, new windows and doors, large metal building, carport, shipping containers, and modifications of swimming pool. Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1, construction without the required permits, which was cited. The case was originally heard by the special magistrate on December 8th of 2022. An order was issued giving the respondent a compliance date of March 9th of 2023. The respondents are here requesting additional time to comply. That concludes my presentation.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Thomas Courtwright. I've gotten several of the permits. The demolition permit's been approved. The 3 other permits are waiting on the health department. We're having an issue with health department giving the non-action letter. It's been almost 12 weeks now that I've been going back and forth with them, and I finally got a response last week that The septic system at this property was redone in 2013 prior to my purchasing it. They pulled a permit, but they never got a final inspection on it. So now I've contracted with Acme Septic to revisit it, get another permit opened up. So once that's done and we get an inspection and soil test, I can get the no action letters for 3 of the other permits that we're waiting on. And I've got an engineer contacted I met with Miss Vicky and got an engineer contracted to go over some of the other drawings and other issues in the apartment. So I just need some time to pull all this together.
How much time?
Honestly, probably 90 days. Because again, I'm going through the same issue with an engineer. I'm 4 weeks out on a schedule for him to come out there. And I've been going for 12 weeks now with the health department with no end in sight, honestly. Right this second, I went over there on Friday again, and they're waiting on Acme back and forth from the septic. So, I mean, it's really up to you, as much as you can give me, and I may just have to come back with whatever we can get applied for at the time.
Has Mr. Courtwright continued to work with you the
Yes,
entire time and
he has.
keep you updated?
Unfortunately, for the record, he purchased the property with these structures on there, and this came up. So I went out to the property to look at it. It will probably take him a little bit of time to get some of the other permits in line because of the engineers that he's going to need to have for the buildings, the structures that are out there. The other ones he's applied for, which will demo them out of there and remove them.
Okay, so do you have a problem with the 90-day extension that's been requested? That would be June 7th, 2023.
That will be up to the building official.
He said he's been working with you. Is that reasonable time, or is that too much time?
It's not, it's reasonable.
Bob Pike, building official, Seminole County. According to Vicki, he has been working with her, so as long as we're moving forward, I think that would be the maximum amount of time we would be able to give them.
Fantastic, thank you. Okay, we'll go ahead and we will give you an extension through June 7th, 2023, or the original fine will be imposed each day thereafter. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next case we have 22-47, Michael Newman.
22-47.
Oh.
Which one is this one?
Wait, that's not the next one I have, I'm sorry. You know what, you're halfway up here, we'll do that one anyway first, sorry.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. And you are Mr. Newman?
Yes, Michael Newman.
Okay, I'll remind you, you're under oath when
Yes,
it's your
ma'am.
turn.
Okay. For the record, the name is Vicki Hathaway, building inspector. I presented a copy of this presentation to the clerk and requested it be entered into record. Case number 2247 CESM is for the property located at 5080 Cub Lake Drive, Apopka, which is owned by Michael Newman. The violation charge is Seminole County Code Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. The description of the violation is installation of an ornamental fence without the required permits. This is a screenshot showing the property appraiser's website that shows Michael Newman as the property record owner. This is a picture taken on 11/16/21 of the ornamental fence that is required to be permitted. Another photograph of the violation electric gate that was taken on 11/16/21. Another photograph on 11/16/21 that shows the electric gate. Oops, hold on one second. I'm sorry there, Ruth. Ornamental fence and lights taken on 2/11/22. Ornamental fence taken on 2/11/22 again. And again on 6/8/22. And let me see here what we've got. This is also at 3/8/23, ready for the hearing here. And this is the permit screen showing that permit number 201321 was issued for a 6-foot chain link fence with 2 gates on 2/11/20. Installed was a 6-foot ornamental fence with gates. No inspections performed to verify the placement of the fence. And we've got a permit here showing for 229221 access control with electric awaiting inspections on 2/8/23. Permit number 227756 is for gas permit. The permit for 22-5889 is for a screen room. Then we've got a permit there listed for reinforced concrete columns. We've got another permit for a swimming pool, and then another one listed for a chain link fence with 2 gates. Was that the last one? Okay. Well, our recommendation is that we're going for a lien hearing right now, so that will conclude my presentation.
Okay, so the matter before us is to just show that there's no compliance as of today. A prior order had been issued that they come into compliance by
That is correct.
yesterday,
Yes,
August.
August.
Okay, okay. All right, sir?
First of all, I did apply for a fence permit back in 2020, when I first purchased it in 2018. I applied for the fence permit, which I asked zoning to come out back in 2020. They came out, they said, you don't need a permit because it's agricultural. And they said, what are you going to put up? I said, well, chain link for right now. They said, you don't need it as long as it's not water vinyl and wind blows through it. I said, no, if you would, please give me a permit. I'd like to make sure all my bases are covered. I knew that because I'm a licensed contractor in Florida, so I understand getting a permit, making sure you're covered. I applied for the fencing permit back in 2020. When I started building the house, those columns were there. There was a wire fence in the front. We got through the build, and then my neighbor bought the one in front of me. He was going to put up a vinyl fence. That's
Sir,
what-
let me stop you right there. Were
Yes.
you present at the hearing on June 9th, 2022?
No.
Okay, so this matter has already been heard, and the magistrate already made a determination that you needed to have a fence permit. So you're not here today to re-argue the entire case. You're here today to tell me why you don't have a permit, because you were ordered on June 9th, 2022, to have a permit by August 12th, 2022.
Yes, ma'am, I did get the permit. They've all been closed out. The access control was done. I had a meeting with Bob Pike, Steve Burgess, Ken Wilson, the electrical inspector, who did come out and inspect the wires. Everything passed. It's all been completed. And so I didn't even know there was a hearing because I had the permits in June of 2022. I submitted the structural to reinforce the concrete columns. That was done. I submitted I have it all right here for the gate openers. Everything was approved. It's got the red stamps all over them.
You have the actual permit?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you show the building inspector the permit, please?
The one that I believe you're going to show is for a chain link fence. 20.
When I had the meeting with Mr. Price, they said all I had to do was fix the columns and get all the controls and everything done. I said, well, that satisfied everything. Everything was yes. The only thing I don't think is the wordage where we put ornamental for that metal part in the front. That's the only thing that's missing. But everything else up there was corrected, issued. I asked, what else do I need to do? I've always been in compliance with it.
Okay. This permit right here is actually for the electrical that's on the fence. The ornamental fence was not permitted. That was additional. There is chain link on the sides of the property. The ornamental's running across the front of the property, and that's the piece that has not been permitted. That is the only one that I see that's not permitted, because the other items were actually permitted. The columns, I'm sorry? Okay, well, according to the records, and excuse me, because I'm 2 weeks back in this role and picking these up, it's sitting in an easement area, the ornamental fences.
In a county easement, or? Are you aware of an easement that the fence is located within?
It's not in an easement. I had zoning come out in 2020 and told me I could put it right there, the chain link.
Well-
Like I said, the only wordage that I was wrong about was considering the chain link or ornamental. But at the time when I applied for the permit, there was no category for ornamental. It was, they said you can put a metal, and as long as wind blows through it, you're fine. And it's on the same exact place where zoning told me in 2020 I could put it. There was
So-
a wire fence there previously.
So the hearing that occurred on June 9th, 2022, do you have those pictures for back in June that you could show?
In June 29, I had the meeting with Mr. Pike, Mr. Burgess, and I told me, y'all tell me what I need to do to make everything right, and that's what we did.
Okay, so,
But I've got no other notices since then because I've had the permits in hand ever since.
well, there
But
was
I-
a hearing that
I
was
didn't
held.
know about it.
on-
I wasn't aware of it.
Okay.
Maybe it was during pandemic, I didn't get a notice, but I've never even been notified of a hearing.
Well, I would tell you that you signed for the green card.
The first one, yes, and that's the letter I have here. This is the only letter I ever got, and I came up here that same day, and I met with Mr. Pike, I met with Steve Burgess, and asked, what do I need to do?
So you knew about the violation, but you didn't know about the hearing.
I had no idea there was a hearing. Thank you. I've never even known there was a hearing.
Okay, but the hearing was held, and the magistrate at that time found that you had been given proper notice through the file that was presented. So at that time, this ornamental fence is the same fence that came before the magistrate in June.
I was never given notice of that hearing. I didn't even, like I said, I had all my permits in hand. I didn't think, I was like, I thought I was in compliance 100%. I've always been in compliance.
This actual hearing, though, the magistrate entered an order, so you would have had to receive that order.
I've never received it.
Okay,
This is the one I received back in 21, November 21. And that's what I came, I had the meeting, everyone told me what I needed to do, and I did it.
bear with me a moment, I'm looking at the file.
Can I speak also on
Sure.
some notes here? I've got from 2/23 of '23, owner Michael Newman came into the front counter to discuss fence permit 201321 and the status of this code violation on 2/22/23. This case was scheduled for a hearing on 3/9 of '23 to impose a $10,000 lien. Owner believes he was in the compliance with the issuance of the permit 201321. The application referenced a chain link fence throughout, and the documents approved survey do not match the scope of work that was actually completed. They would have needed to been revised to include the chain, or the wrought iron fence.
May I speak?
And there's been no inspection scheduled for that permit.
Yes.
As far as that goes, yeah, all I have to do is amend the wordage on that original permit that I have from 2020 to say ornamental, because like I said, at the time, when I first applied for it, there was no wording for ornamental fence. That just got changed in 2022.
It would have needed to been revised to include the ornamental fencing, show it also on the survey where it's going to go, because the current survey that we have of the fence, it shows nothing but a chain link fence.
Yeah, I'd be glad to change it, but I didn't know in 2020, there was no wordage for ornamental. And I'll be glad to amend what I have and show just where I have the chain link and the ornamental in the front.
So the hearing that you said you did not know about, there was an affidavit of mailing that was sent, and you signed the green card for
No,
it.
ma'am, there's no way.
I have it in front of me right now, if your
Well-
name's Michael Newman.
If I signed it, I thought it was pertaining to the first the one that I already went to. I mean, I went and got it, I signed it, and I went straight to Seminole County. I met with Mr. Pike. I did everything I did. I've been totally, trying to fix the problem, 100%, from the very beginning. Even when I didn't need a permit, I pulled a permit.
Yes, sir, I can't help the fact that you didn't read the mail that you signed for. And the notice is clear in here that it was for a hearing on June 9th related to construction without a permit. You signed for it, you received it, you did not
Yeah.
appear. The hearing was held, and a magistrate imposed the order. You were here in February, is that correct? The building official, she's reading out of the case notes,
Yeah.
that you were here in February inquiring about it, and at that time did nothing to fix the issue?
No, I did, absolutely did. That's this one that I just got. I did, and I was like, that's why I came up here. I was like, I have all the permits, and everyone was like, well, we went upstairs, and they said, oh, it was just a miscommunication between zoning and the building department, that I didn't include ornamental on my permit. And they said, well, just still show for this hearing, and just explain that it was just ornamental that needed to be added, and amend your original permit and take it from there. I came right up here as soon as I got this. I found this on the driveway, and I was just like, what the heck? And like I said, thought I was in complete compliance the entire time, which, like I said, I got the permit, I got the engineers to show what I'd need to reinforce the columns. I mean, I was never not trying to do anything, without the right permits.
Can you give me some more information about this ornamental versus?
The scope of work does not reflect what was installed. The scope of work is showing a chain link fence. Had there been an inspection done on it, they would have been able to tell that it was past the property lines and out into the right-of-way area, which it would have failed, and they would have had to correct that failure on the permit or sit with the failed permit sitting on the property.
So the permit from 2020 did not have a closeout on it?
Correct.
Okay.
There's 6 months that you have to get a permit completed and done before it goes and expires.
So again, the magistrate heard all of this in
I
June.
wasn't here, I didn't even
But you
know it.
signed for the notice of
Okay, I'm
hearing,
sorry.
sir.
I thought it was for this original letter.
So I can't undo an order where you signed for something and didn't read it. I can't
I
undo that.
understand.
Does the county have if he were to come into, eventually come into compliance and do whatever he needed to do, does the county have a lien reduction policy that's in place related to a lien once it's imposed?
He can request a reduction of a lien from the Board of County Commissioners. There's a $500 application fee, no guarantee it'll get paid or be reduced.
But it would still need to be brought into compliance before something like that were
Correct.
to happen. Okay. Okay, is there anything else that you would like to add?
I would like to say, can I just get the permit amended, like I said, and just put the right wordage on it? I've done everything that I humanly thought was right to get this resolved.
Sir, I don't think that you have, because what I'm being told here is your fence is in the right-of-way. And so you wouldn't be able to get an approval and a closeout of the permit that you received because your fence is located in the right-of-way. And had you called for the closeout, you would have been told that. So it's a little bit more complicated than just the word ornamental versus chain link.
Could I ask, which part is not in the right-of-way? Which
The
part?
outline of where you've got your actual survey, sorry if I may speak,
Yeah.
Yeah,
does
absolutely.
not show where the fence is actually sitting at. The site plan does not match what's on the plans.
The site plans from 2020?
The site plan that was submitted to us for the
Yeah.
fence does not match what's in the field.
The 2020 site plan that was stamped.
I don't know which site plan it is. I just know the plan
the
that I'm looking
2020.
at that
It's in the
shows the
same-
actual fence.
It's in the same exact spot. I have it stamped.
Do you have a closeout of the permit?
No, we didn't close it out because my neighbor put up vinyl, and we were just waiting for him to do the final, so we could, then put up the chain link where I was told I could put chain link. And I did that.
But you did not close out this permit. And had you closed out this permit, you would have been told that the fence is located in the right-of-way.
That, I'm still not clear about, because zoning said it was the right place to put it, and I followed zoning's instructions. That's a tough one there. I'm like, zoning told me to put it there. I have a stamped approval for it.
Do you have that with you?
Yes, I have it right here.
And it
It's
shows
stamped.
its location?
Yes. Bear with me, I brought it with me. Oh, take that. There it is.
To who? To who though?
A chain link.
Chain link, yeah, but
Straight across.
Okay.
See, it juts out in 3 angles.
Okay, all right.
It's in the right way.
Okay. Would you like me to come up?
Yes.
Okay. So what was approved is this layout here, okay?
Okay.
Look at those fences in different angles coming out to the front, which has not been inspected.
Okay, so it wasn't placed in the same location.
It's not in the location that's
Straight
on this.
on that.
survey.
No, there's no, it's right there at the front, right there. This is the front where the ornamental.
But when you look at the picture of the front of the ornamental fence, it doesn't match it straight across the line.
Okay, one end there's a 45 because I didn't want to, I went way away from those, the meters and everything, but at first they gave me approval.
Okay, we're not picking this up on the record. At any rate,
This is what I did at first, it was 90 degrees, but it's 45 right there.
so I think what has happened is you did not place the fence in the correct location as it's shown on the survey. There is a difference between what that picture reflects and what your survey reflects.
But it's back more on my property.
And I cannot make that decision sitting in here today
I'm glad to amend it.
without an
and show-
updated survey. But what I am going to go ahead and do, because there was a hearing held on June 9th, there was an order issued that gave compliance date of August 12th, and nothing was done. Nothing was done, though.
But it was done. I had the permits in place to fix everything that I had told Mr. Pike and everyone told me to fix.
But
That's-
clearly, you did not, because what you have, what you're showing me, you showed me a survey, and you told me that the fence was placed exactly there. Then you changed your testimony and told me it was placed in a different location back further on your property.
Just one corner of it to.
But
just
sir,
one
then you also have testified that you did not get a closeout permit to make sure that it was put in the right location. So without information to the contrary, the only thing that I have to go on is what you have testified to and what is being shown in front of me. And the hearing regarding this was already held.
I didn't know.
And I am not to, my function at a lien hearing is not to rehear the case. It is to determine whether it is in compliance or not. And there is not a permit for what you have presented today. So what I suggest, I'm going to go ahead and impose the fine retroactive to August 13th, 2022, which was the date of original compliance stemming from the June 9th, 2022 hearing. Now, that is a fine right now for 209 days will be $10,460. $50, and it will continue each and every day until there is compliance achieved. So what I recommend is that you immediately get with the county, see how this can be rectified, and that you then file an application to have the lien reduced based on the information that you have told us here. But when you receive a notice from the county, you have to comply with it, and you have to follow through with it. And had this order not be imposed by the prior magistrate, then I would be able to consider the testimony that you're telling me, but my hands are tied.
I just did not know there was a meeting about it, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I did everything I thought I did right, so.
Well, so I suggest you get with the county right away. If you do have information that suggests that you were told something and you can show that information to the county, I'm sure that would go a long way in helping your case for the lien reduction. And I suggest that you do that. But I cannot do anything other than what's in front of me today.
Okay. Is there an appeals process plus that, what you just mentioned?
You are certainly permitted to appeal.
Yeah.
I can't give you legal advice on how to do that. You would need to see a private attorney about how to do that. But
I have an attorney. I'll
Okay.
I'll appear with an attorney next time.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
You can go ahead and take a, how long? 10-minute break? Okay, we're back on the record. The next case is Ryan Edelston and Jasmine Thorne, case number 23-18-CESM.
Okay.
And your names for the record?
Jasmine Edelston?
Chase Tate.
Okay, you were previously Thorne?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. And your,
Chase represents me, kind of moral support.
Okay.
If nothing else.
okay, all right, great. Okay.
For the record, name is Vicki Hathaway, Building Inspector. I've presented a copy of this presentation to be entered into the clerk and requested it be entered in for record. Case number 2318, CESM, is for property located at 1820 Viburnum Lane, Winter Park, Florida, which is owned by Ryan Edelston and Jasmine Thorne. The violation charge is Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Description of the violation is installation of a garage and enclosing a carport and drywalling the inside of the carport without the required permits. This is a screenshot showing the case summary as follows. The initial inspection was done on 11/17 of 21. Notice to the respondent went out the same day. Compliance date was given of 10/31/22. Follow-up inspection shows both site visit, also and via computer as well. Results of the inspection, the violation remains on the property. This is a screenshot from the property appraiser's website that shows Ryan Edelston and Jasmine Thorne are the record owners of the property. This is a photograph showing the posting of the notice of the hearing on the property on 2/21 of 23. This is a picture that you'll see where the garage has been, or it was the actual carport that was enclosed into a garage, and then it was drywalled also on the inside. This photograph was taken on 11/17 of 21. This is the enclosed carport again that's showing on 3/28 of 22. This is the enclosed carport. The date is showing here also 4/7 of 22. Enclosed carport date again, also inspection is showed on 8/24 of 22. And then we've got another one here for 11/14 of 22. Okay. And here we've got a permit screen that shows permits 22-13399 has been applied for and is currently in plan check status. Permit 22-13399 is for a carport turned into a garage, and then permit 22-6493 is for the water heater as well. Next screen shows an application and date applied for the actual permit. Date applied was on 8/3 of 2022. Planning and review dates along with the results. There's building, electrical, mechanical, excuse me. Oh, okay. Along with contact, the date, and applications for corrections. Okay, here we've got copy of the variance. They had to request a variance due to the fact that the carport is actually a little bit further over on the property lines. Variance application was submitted on 4/24 of 23. This is a copy of the administrative variance approval letter.
When was the application submitted? Is the hearing on 4?
I'm sorry. Variance application was submitted, and the hearing will be on 4/24/23.
Okay.
For the record. This is a copy of the administrative variance approval letter. This is a copy of the Seminole County Chapter 40 in which they're in violation of. Okay. The recommendation based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 2318 CESM is determined that the respondents are the owners of the property located at 1820 Viburnum Lane, Winter Park in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession or control of the property, and in violation of the Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. This is a screenshot that it further recommends that the special magistrate order the respondents to correct the violations on or before May 12th of 2023. In order to correct the violation, the respondents shall obtain the required permits for the cited violation. If the respondents do not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or repeats after the compliance. The respondents must contact the inspector to verify compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Yes, ma'am. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
So the previous owners did the work. We were not aware of the garage conversion or the carport conversion. We have been working on getting the permit, and we did get the variance approved. I had a question for you guys. So on April 24th, the variance hearing will happen, you said, correct?
It will take place.
Okay, and then the permit will be approved, or can you clarify the steps after that?
Once we have the variance, Ruth, help me out here, since it's been a while since I've had to do with variances, or Pat.
15-day appeal period after the hearing. If it's approved or denied, a 15-day appeal period.
30.
Okay, so we have a 30-day appeal period, probably from the,
So 30 days after April 24th?
Correct. Then at that point, you can move forward with whatever permitting process you're in to see if we can go forward for the carport.
So then May 12th doesn't give them sufficient time to get the permit?
Probably won't then, if there's a 30-day appeal period.
So, yeah, we would just request ample time after that.
Are we not currently in the 30-day appeal period? I thought that it was ending on the 3rd of next month.
Did you have your appeal already? Question.
It's still going as far as I'm aware. Is this 30?
Yeah, I think it was an office variance, is that what you guys call it?
Administrative.
Or administrative variance, sorry, yeah.
So the letter indicates that was included. Does that indicate that it was approved?
It shows that it was approved, correct.
So are there administrative variances that can be approved, or is it just the recommendation of approval? What I have in front of me
It's
is
a recommendation of
pretty
approval, I
small.
believe, to go forward. After review by planning development, applicant needs a variance to keep the enclosed carport violation. Variance application was submitted on 4/24 of '23.
4/24 of '23, an application.
I can't see the letter, I'm sorry. Let me see here. When was it done? March 2nd, okay, of 2023.
But the letter what's the letter dated? Is it
March
2nd, 2023?
Correct.
So they have a hearing still, or is this an approval?
Looks like it's been approved.
I didn't know there was a, okay.
Yeah, our understanding was that it was approved, and we're in the 30-day wait process.
So this 30-day period for a decision to be appealed by the Board of Adjustment, is that correct?
It's a different department.
Okay. So they have a 30-day wait period still?
So we're currently in the 30-day wait period?
April 3rd.
Correct.
It sounds
Okay.
like.
As of April 3rd. My apologies, I'm sorry.
It's been a long day for everyone.
A building permit can be issued after April 3rd. So the May 12th date would give you sufficient time to come into compliance, because you would then apply for a permit immediately following April 3rd.
The permit has already been applied for.
So you would do what you need to contact the county to final it out then, to
Okay.
get your permit.
Correct.
So
So after April 3rd?
I suggest you make contact with the county. Usually things aren't done for you. So I suggest
Of
you
course.
make contact with them, and then having had the approval, I think will obviously go a long way for your final receipt of the permit.
So on April 3rd, since the permit has already been applied for, then we will be able to final it out after, just to clarify.
That should be correct.
Should be.
Okay.
Ms. Thorne has my business card, and I have one here if she needs it as well.
Okay,
Thank you,
great.
Vicki.
I think we're fine with that.
Okay.
We're planning on filing it out immediately.
Okay, then I think that gives you ample time. It gives you over 30 days if we go with the recommendation of the building official. So I will go ahead and accept the electronic case file into the record.
Wait, one more question, sorry.
Sure.
If there's any issues during the inspection, will that time frame be extended at all, or no?
So the time frame that I imposed today of May 12th will not be extended unless you come back here and ask for an extension. But
Do we have to wait for a hearing?
I see the building official walking towards us, so he might be able to help with some of those questions.
Bob Pike, building official, Seminole County. Once your appeal period's over, you should be able to get your permit issued. Currently, you do not have a permit that's issued for that work. Once the permit gets issued, you have 6 months at that point in time to get an approved inspection.
Understood.
It's called the inspection process.
Right,
And
okay.
an approved inspection will continue to keep that permit alive for another 6 months. So once you get through the variance process, then you should be able to get your permit issued. So I would recommend getting a hold of the building department once you get to that point to see where it's at in the process, to see if we can't get that thing issued. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So that means that you comply with this case once that building permit is issued, but you have to go through and get it closed out, get all the inspections and do that, or you could find yourselves back here for another reason.
Okay, so once the permit is approved, then this case will go away?
This case does, yes.
Okay, awesome, we're good, thank you.
But you got to follow through.
The permit needs to be issued.
Yes.
Yeah, and it will be issued after the 3rd.
Okay.
Yeah, got it.
I would contact the building department after that date to see where it's at in the
Got
process.
it.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Then I will go ahead and accept the electronic case file into the record and find that the respondent is currently in violation and that they have until May 12th, 2023 to bring the property into compliance by receiving a permit. And if they do not receive the permit on or before May 12th, 2023, a $50 a day fine will be imposed for every day thereafter.
Understood, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that is, oh, we have someone else, a couple others. Okay. Case number 2329, CESM Maureen Davis Walker. Which one is this here? Ms. Walker, if I could go ahead and have you raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. The only reason I'm swearing you in after the fact is because I think you came in a little later when we did the mass swearing in where we swear to everyone in, so.
I think I was actually here.
Oh,
when
you
that
were? Okay. Well, I'm sorry.
No worries.
Now you're doubly sworn, so. Okay, thank you.
Okay, for the record, name is Vicki Hathaway, Building Inspector. I presented a copy of this presentation to the clerk and requested it be entered into record. Case number 2329 CESM is for the property located at 527 Huxford Court, Lake Mary, which is owned by Maureen Davis Walker. The violation charged is Seminole County Code Chapter 40, Section A, Appendix A, Section 105.9. Description of the violation is enclosing a patio into a room, including installation of framing, drywall, wall sheathing, stucco, window, and door without the required permits. This is a screenshot showing the initial inspection that was done on 6/21 of '22. Notice to the respondent went out on 6/27/22, given a compliance date of 11/14/22. Follow-up inspections as shown both on the site and via computer. Results of the inspections, the violation remains on the property. This is a screenshot from the property appraiser's website showing that Maureen Davis Walker is the record owner of the property. This next photograph is the posting that was done for the notice of hearing on 2/21 of '23. This is a picture of the new room that was enclosed taken on 6/21 of '22. The exterior of the stucco that was taken on 6/21 of '22. another picture of that as well, showing the enclosed, or the screen porch that was now enclosed into a room. A new stucco-on addition taken on 8/26 of '22. The new door and drywall taken on 2/1 of '22. Again, another picture showing the enclosure taken on 12/1 of '22. And again, the new window on 12/1 of '22. This is, the violation remains on the property at 3/8 of '23 as of. The next picture shows this, no permits issued for the correction, to correct the violations. Shows different applications in here. We've got one for a vinyl fence, permit 21-245, and a permit 17-3608 is for a re-roof. It's a copy of the permit application that was received on 10/31 of '22. Oops. Again, we've got different things that show in the permit screen that zoning is requesting corrections needed. Also with, residential building review corrections are needed, and you can see here the permit application, there's many corrections that are being requested. And also as well as zoning corrections. Building review corrections, you can see there are several, quite a few that need to be addressed before the permit is issued. This is a picture of the Seminole County Chapter 40 Appendix A showing the long day. Chapter 40 Appendix A regarding the requirement of permits. Okay, the recommendation is based on the testimony and evidence presented in the case number 2329 CESM. It is determined that the respondent is Maureen Davis Walker, the record owner of the property located at 527 Huxford Court, Lake Marion, Seminole County, is determined by the property appraiser's records, is in possession and control of the property. The violation of the Seminole County Code Chapter 40 Appendix A, Section 105.1. Further recommends that the special magistrate order the respondent to correct the violations on or before April 14th of 2023. In order to correct the violations, the respondent shall obtain the required permits for the cited violation. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or are repeated after compliance. The respondent must contact the inspector to verify compliance. This concludes my presentation.
You state your name for the record, please.
Maureen Davis Walker.
Okay.
So my question, we have submitted a number of permit applications. I got the last email I got saying that there were a number of issues that needed to be dealt with. We went back to the engineer and he gave us what we thought were the drawings and whatever other documentation we would have needed to have these issues corrected. We submitted them, and I think the last thing that I was aware of that we had outstanding was the permit number, the FLD number for the door, which we finally were able to get and submit that last week. When I called sometime last week, I was told that there were still some additional items that were being required, and I would have gotten an email. I have been searching for that email, and I still have not received it. I've been calling the offices here nonstop since Wednesday of last week, and I've spoken to a number of persons who really just kept saying you will get some notification of what is outstanding. So at this point, the last set of things that I think was dated sometime in March, last listing of things that were outstanding, I've not gotten any documentation to support that request as yet. So I'm requesting, I'm actually gonna go and see if I can get a hard copy of that when I'm through here. And then I don't know if a month will be enough time to get those things in order, because these may be things that I might have to reach back out to the engineer who did the initial drawings for us to get, and he's not necessarily as responsive as I would like, so yeah.
So the original permit for this the application was made in October? Is that correct?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
So since you submitted the application, has she been consistently working with the county to try to?
I can't speak for that, being new into this position. I see there's some notes in here. I don't see a whole lot where, I do see on 10/7 of 22 that the owner, Ms. Davis, actually emailed in regards to delays to Hurricane Ian. Permit app enclosed received for today. I'm not seeing a whole lot of, I do see some contact, yes. There is some here. On 2/23, we got a phone call.
But I guess my concern is, since the application was submitted in November, at the end of October. Since that application was submitted, then I see nothing until there are notes from, there were building notes that were put in place immediately. So were those communicated to her?
Are you the owner builder? I'm sorry.
Yes, I am.
Okay, these are things that they're asking for corrections that needed. We need them. So as an owner builder, they need to know how to go in and respond to emails or to be able to look online to see what it is that's being held up at that point in time so they can address those issues to push that permit forward.
Okay, so the list of items that was implemented or was inserted into the system on November 7th, it would have been her responsibility as an owner builder to go in and comply with those.
Correct.
So were you aware that you needed to go in and find these issues and deal with them?
Okay, so I was not aware that there was a process that I could go online and access whatever needs to be done. But we came in November, and I had resubmitted the form, and I got an email after that with a complete listing of items that were still outstanding. Since then, we reached out to the engineer, and I believe in January of this year, all the drawings, the updated drawings we physically came in, dropped those documents off, and we took all of those. Then my husband came back in because they said they had gotten everything, but what was outstanding was the door. There is a code, a Florida approval code for the door, and we somehow lost that paper that was stuck on the door and the door was no longer in stock where we had bought it, so we had to get all of that information. So that information I was able to get in, I think, Winter Gardens or something, and my husband came in with that amended form last week. When we called back last week, I was told that they have that, but then there is something about a 7 feet
setback, and that's a zoning issue.
Right. So, and that was last week. So I said, but I have not gotten that. And I was told that this should have been emailed to me. No, my thing is, I've called. My husband has come here. I've come here. We've been here. When I called last week, I spoke to Megan. I called 407-665-731. I spoke to a number of different persons. I spoke to someone that said they were at the courts. No one said you could go online and do this. They said it will be emailed to you. So I'm waiting on this email, knowing that this court date is today. So, I mean, my plan really was to get here early to see this documentation, right? But it's not that since October, we've not done anything. We got this thing October, we reached back out to the engineer. He gave us 2 sets of drawing. The first set, it seemed as if it did not meet the requirements. We went back out to him, he gave us another set. We submitted that. It was way more detailed because the email that I got, and if I could access my phone, I would look at the emails. There was a long list of stuff. And we took everything in, then they said, okay, the door code is still not correct. We finally got that sorted out, and we took that in. So we've been coming. I came, my husband came, we've been coming. Just that, no, since last week again, because my thought was, after we had sent in everything, everything would have been, I would have at least gotten the permit before this date. But that is not the case. So no, I don't know how long it is going to take for me to sort out this zoning issue, because I really don't, know what to do at this
Sure.
point.
So the information that was submitted on the 7th, November 7th, there's no indication, another note.
Currently, right now, the information that has been submitted that we are reviewing right now is in one of the plans reviewer's hands. Then it's got to go into zoning's hand. And
Okay.
there is a setback requirement that I did see in there when I was researching this before today.
So that's
Looking at
going to
that.
require probably a variance
But there's a list of
application.
things that, needed to be addressed, which was held up for a long time, which is why we're here today.
But we have the plans now, and those items are being
They're
reviewed.
being reviewed, correct.
And so that process is going through the process, but the problem is, I think that the zoning application for the variance is probably what's going to cause another holdup.
She may need to require her to apply for a variance, depending on what zoning says.
Right. So it's very possible if you're encroaching into the required setback, that's what's going to require you to get a variance application in order to move forward. So I do suggest that after this, you go upstairs and you try to talk to someone in zoning, because I think if you can get a jump on that, that will help. But my concern is that she wouldn't be able to even be close to being complied with by April 14th if that's the case.
If that's the case. It's going to be dependent on what zoning says.
And we don't know here today.
I can't make that determination.
And so I have a hard time having her come into compliance by April 14th without us knowing in the file. I wish that the file would indicate, that zoning has looked at this and they at least know
They
whether
haven't,
that's.
as far as I know, they have not looked at it yet. It's headed that way.
And so when something comes in, it doesn't immediately, building has to finish its review before then it gets sent to
Correct.
zoning to make sure, because you don't want zoning looking at something if building hasn't said that that's something that
Correct.
can actually be.
It has to touch all hands,
Okay.
unfortunately.
But it doesn't touch them at the same time necessarily? Okay. So I'm concerned that we're setting her up for failure. But because she can't get a building permit issued if she needs a variance
That's a
until.
possibility.
Do we know, is this type of a variance an administrative variance, or is it Board of Adjustment type variance?
I need Pat to clarify the difference of the two, because this is new to me, these two different variances that we have. I'm not familiar with them. I'm used to just the Board of Adjustment variances that we've dealt with before in the past. So administrative and
I cannot clarify that.
oh, you can't? I don't know who can clarify that, and I will, after today, I will be clearly armed with the information on that, because this
Okay.
is a new one to me.
Okay, so I have concerns with setting someone up for failure, just because I don't, and if we give more time and she comes, what I am gonna do is give you more time than what they're requesting, but I don't want you to delay in any way because you have that more time. I want you to continue working through the process, because if you can, the sooner you can get it done, the better. You don't have to wait till the last.
No, definitely. Because from my understanding, what needs to be done now is that I need to do a variance application. That's the next step.
Possibly.
I don't know that.
When did you submit the door information again?
Last week. It would have
Okay.
been last Monday or Tuesday.
It was very close to today's date.
Yeah, sometime last week.
Okay. So I'm going to give you 60 days, which is to May 8th, 2023. And the reason I'm not going into June is because I want you to keep moving forward with the process. And I also want that to be able to put some heat on your engineer and let him know that you're under some deadlines. So if something does come back, and I want you to, when you leave here, I want you to immediately go upstairs and see if you can get some information about what your setback is. This isn't a situation where you're trying to build something. This is something that's there, so.
She submitted the drawings, so she'll know by looking at her drawings that, I would imagine you have a copy of them yourself as well.
Yes, I do.
To ask them what your setback is, to look to see if it's going to meet that. If not, then you probably need to apply for a variance.
And if you do, you could start that process now. And then I also will, if for some reason we're coming up on the June 7th date or on the May 8th date and you've continued to work with the county, I don't see a reason why you couldn't get an extension if you are continuing to work through the process. Okay? So what I'm going to do, I'll go ahead and accept the electronic case file into the record. I will find that there is a violation of the county's code for failure to have a building permit, and I will give until May 8th, 2023 in order to come into compliance by receiving a building permit. And if you do not obtain a permit by May 8th, 2023, a fine in the amount of $50 a day will be imposed for each and every day thereafter. I do encourage you, if you are working toward this goal and you continue to contact the county, remain in contact with them. If you don't get emails, even if you're driving them crazy, call them every day, come down here, make sure that they're noting in their files that you are working toward completing this. And that's going to help you if you do need an extension.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I have a question. So each time I visit or call, is there supposed to be some documentation on my file to say that I visited or called? Is that the process?
If you talk to me, or you talk to Ruth, or you talk to Julie, the other two, my administrative help, if you talk to the three of us, usually my phones come to me directly. If you have a question and I'm driving because I'm out doing inspections, I'll typically ask you, hey, I know who you are, I'll call you right back, or can you please, if it's new, send me an email so I don't forget it and I follow up with you, because there's a record there that somebody emailed me about this and I never responded to them. But I typically will roll my phones to myself when I'm out in the field, or I'll give it to one of the admin staff that works with us in code enforcement, because anytime you contact us, we want that record in there that you have spoken to us and what we've told you, what's happening and where you need to be. So there is no miscommunication of, hey, I talked to this person, or I tried to call them, they never called me back. We are really good about putting notes in there. And I come from a very documented family. It's if you didn't do it, or if you didn't write it, you didn't do it. So I always typically will put in there the date and time stamp and what we talked about and what I told you.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate it. I'm going to need one of your business
She has
cards.
my cards. I asked her to give it to you.
So you're saying all the contact that we've been having with the front office, just going through that door and speaking to whoever's there, none of that would have been documented?
Well, they're dealing with permit issues. They're not, we're code violations. That's two different things. When something gets released, that's in regards to your code violation. They typically say, hey, I released a permit here. Please check it to make sure it covers the violations. If it doesn't, I say yay or nay. It does cover it, or no, it doesn't. They still need this. They still need this. And I'm very personable with people, so when I used to do this back in the day, I always called them all the time, say, hey, let's go, let's go.
All right. Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, the next case we have, 2022-13 CESM Victor Echeverria. Ma'am, I don't believe you were here when we swore everyone in. If you would state your name for the record and your affiliation.
Maria Echeverria, That's for my dad.
Okay. And he has asked you to come here today and speak
Yes,
on
and
his...
he had wrote to you before in the past, Pat, saying that I was authorized, and also in the application and everything, he signed me off.
Okay, okay. If you'll go ahead and raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Okay, for the record here, name is Vicki Hathaway, Building Inspector for Seminole County. This is in regards to construction of a pole, Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1, construction without the required permits. This case was originally heard by the Special Magistrate on February 10th of 2022. An order was issued giving the respondents a compliance date of June 10th of 2022. On June 9th of 2022, the Special Magistrate issued an order extending the compliance date to August 11th of 2022. An affidavit of noncompliance was filed by the inspector after reinspection on August 12th of 2022. Recommendation based on the findings of fact issued in February 10 of 2022, the Special Magistrate issue an order imposing the lien in the amount of $10,500 for 210 days of noncompliance from August 12th of 2022 through including March 9th of 2023. And the fine shall continue to accrue at $50 a day for each day the violation continues or is repeated after March 9th of 2023. This concludes my presentation.
Okay.
Okay, so since we heard from you guys, we started working, and we found an engineer that did the plans, and we came and submitted for the permit back in August, and we submitted the plans. Then they asked us for corrections, and we went and asked for the engineer to do the correction, and he took forever, and I kept on communicating with the department coming in and making sure that, that we are like working on it. He was replying back that he was working on it, and then I find out that he passed away, and I had to find another engineer. And I never heard anything from you guys, so I thought that since we put the application back in August, that we were already in compliance and that you guys were aware that we were working, and since I came here a couple of times. So we had to go and find another engineer, and this, I just find out back in January about this engineer that passed away actually in October. So I don't know who was answering my emails towards like making the corrections towards my plans, so I can have them resubmitted over here. So they gave us instructions of what to do. I came in, gave the new plans with the new engineer. Then another correction needed to be made, that they have to send the new engineer needed to send a letter to the old engineer that passed away, and that had to sign off saying that it's okay for him to carry on with the new plans, with the new drawing. So that delayed us again for another like 3 weeks.
When did that occur?
That happened in February, and I think I came a little bit before February because the lady in the front told me that there was a hearing on February 10th, and I came here February 10th, and it was on a Friday, and they said that I was not in the list, and I have to go and see you, and I went upstairs, and you told me something about
Me?
Pat? You Pat, yeah? No?
No, Pat.
Oh, Pat. Pat, I'm sorry.
No,
It's
that's
just
okay.
too much, yeah. So I went to see Pat, and Pat said, you have until April, just make sure that all of this gets done, because at that point, I already had like the new plans, and it was submitted with them, but since then, it's been correction after correction. And I've been waiting for the permit, thinking that everything was good, and in the 10 minutes break, I went there, and they just told me that they needed this to be corrected, towards like, I needed to write that the dirt was gonna be removed, and that the pump thing was not completed. I guess I didn't give them like the whole thing. So they just sent me the pictures, so I just spoke to them. So those are the 2 items now that they say that it should be for me to get the permit.
Does your system show that she's had this contact and that she's
There are corrections that we're waiting on. I spoke with Gloria yesterday, I met with her on site at her property. So I did look at them today, and there are corrections we're waiting on in order for that permit to be pushed further into review. Once it hits a stop point, it's got to be addressed with that issue in order to further on into the planning process. So apparently, it's been sitting out there since 2022, and as an owner-builder, I don't know where the miscommunication happened on their end, but it's been sitting there.
Yeah, and like David, like I check my email since I have this notice in front of the house. Like I check the email every day to see like if it goes through, like so I can come and pay for the permit and start the process. Also like to build a pool and stop having the hole there. And I just told her like I didn't receive any emails, so it was like these corrections, and this correction was sent on the 24th of February.
So once an engineer, you all have accepted plans from an engineer, as the owner-builder, is she still the only one receiving notice? The engineer doesn't receive?
She's the one responsible for the permit, correct.
Yes.
The engineer's doing the design process. She is I asked them, I said, you guys are building your own pool? They were like, yeah, we're going to do it. I'm like, okay, I've never seen that before, but okay.
Yeah,
So
we
it is
have
up to
everything now. The only thing, like I said, now that they say there is these two things. And the girl told me to go upstairs and to speak to Jennifer just to make sure, like, that being written there is going to be okay. And I just received, I didn't know, I don't understand. So I just received the picture, the complete picture. I'm going to go print it and give it to the guy that is responsible, the one that needed it. Told me that this picture was incorrect. And those are the two items that just needs to be done. That's what you said.
She comes to my office, and I told her it would be scheduled for maybe in March or April, and at that time, she could request additional.
Okay. I have sympathy for the death of the engineer. I think that if she's thinking that something is moving forward, and you were receiving responses to your emails?
Yes, like that they were working on it, and I just kept on telling them, because I had that, I every time that they told us to come to the hearing, we came to the hearing, and we've been working with you guys, like to get this forward. So when they said about the $50 fine, I was like rushing him, like, please help me out, please, I need this. And I was receiving responses, so I thought they were working on it, and I find out that the guy, passed away. So now I had to come back and
And you have a different firm?
Yes.
A different engineering firm?
Yes.
And all of the requirements to turn the permit over have been taken care
Yes,
of?
these are all the new plans and of the new engineer, and also like all the paperwork saying also the letter that it was submitted to the old engineer, and also the fact that he passed away, it's also submitted.
Okay.
Like,
And that has been placed in the
yes,
counties?
Yes.
Okay.
They already have it since the beginning of February.
Okay. How long do you think it will take her?
It's an owner-builder process, so they're going to have to stay on. When we send out corrections to be done, it's a one-time deal. We're not going to keep sending them back out and sending them back out. There were two issues that I looked at earlier today on the permit that needed to be addressed, and it's been sitting there for quite a while, so.
Yeah, these two items that they just told me since February 24th.
Correct.
Which I didn't get the email. And
But wait a second, I don't know that there is an email. Is it that she has to go physically into the system?
There is a place in the system where they can go and look to see what the corrections are. There's a holdup here somewhere. So what's the holdup? Why am I not getting further along in the permitting process? So they need to go look into that system to see what is needed. I don't know what it, I mean, I don't even know.
So you're not
it.
going to get emails? That's not,
They typically say they do send out emails.
Oh, they
for
do?
that, Because the plans reviewers are in touch with these people.
Yeah.
And they'll send something out to them. Now, whether they go to spam, junk mail, I don't know. I couldn't even
Okay.
attest to that. I'm just going to tell you how the process is.
so you need to stay on top of this,
yes,
in
and
other
I
words?
have, until like this one. This is the only email I didn't receive, the one from February 24th.
Okay.
Because I've been checking every single day. That's what I just told, when you said 10 minutes break, I run over there and I asked the girl, hey, can you give me an update about my plans, about the permit? And that's when she came to tell me right now this. And I'll take care of this right now, today. Like, I'm gonna go to the second floor and take care of that, that we had to remove the dirt from there and also the pump curve, diagram.
Okay.
There was something to do with plumbing, I believe. And probably zoning, too.
Is it still active?
There's nothing in the system showing a zoning comment.
Okay, then I was thinking that was one of them. I've had reviewed so many today that, I know there was one on the plumbing. She showed me the plans yesterday that they had to do a revision on.
This is they told me to go to zoning because they require for us to put in that we were gonna remove the dirt.
So there is a zoning
Oh, so there is a zoning issue.
Yeah, and they told me to go speak to Jennifer to say if this, just by having to write it there was enough, or if the engineer had to actually put it on the plans.
Correct. So there are two issues I know she's dealing
Yes,
with.
which is this too.
The 30-day extension, she's be able to take care of it at that point.
Okay. Okay, so the building official is saying 30 days would be enough time at this point in time.
Okay.
I mean, I can only say if it's not for her on her end, she's just going to need to request additional time.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and give you to April 8th, which is a 30-day extension from today,
Okay.
but you need to stay on
Yes.
top of this. And if for some reason you don't get an email, don't, come down here.
Yes, I'm here all the time, I know
Call
that
me.
too, yeah.
Okay.
Or call Vicky, yes, because it's the first time I met you when you came to my house, yesterday.
No,
And-
Yes, I have a card. I
I'm
have a
gonna-
card.
Okay.
You gave it to me yesterday.
Okay, and I'm going to hold off the fines as well with the extension. So we'll give you the extension, and then the fines will go into effect on April 9th at the same rate, the $50 a day that was imposed back in the original order. And so that will be, at that point, would be 240 days worth, so it will be well over $10,000 if you do not comply with this order, okay? You need to follow through.
So I will have to pay those fines?
You will not at this point. I'm not going to impose the fines at this point. We're extending out until April 8th, but if you do not follow through and you do not comply, at that next lien hearing, you stand to get fines imposed over $10,000.
I'll take care of it today. I'm
Okay.
gonna go upstairs and I'm gonna go and print the other picture and bring it today.
Okay.
All right?
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're going to go in order.
Okay.
The next case is 2023-30 CESM Archibald Cruz.
Okay. It's a regular one. All right. You ready? Okay. For the record, name is Vicki Hathaway, Building Inspector. I presented a copy of this presentation to be entered into the clerk and request that it be entered in for record. Case number 2330 CESM is for the property located at 607 Queensbridge Drive, Lake Mary, Florida, which is owned by Archibald Cruz. The violation charge is Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Description of violation is installation of a fence without the required permits. This is a screenshot showing the initial inspection that was done on 9/13 of '22. Notice to the respondent was sent out on 9/20 of '22, giving them a compliance date of 11/7 of '22. Follow-up inspections is shown both on site visit and via computer. Results of the re-inspections, a violation remains on the property. This is a screenshot of the property appraiser's website showing that Archibald Cruz is the record owner of the property. This is a photograph posting the hearing notice on property at 2/21/23. This is a picture of the fence that was taken on 9/13 of '22. This is other pictures on 10/21 of '22 of the fence that was taken. And also on 12/1 of '22. This is As of 3/8 of '23, you can see the violation still remains on the property. This is a copy of the permit screen that shows that no permits have been issued to correct the violation. This is a screenshot of the Seminole County Chapter 40 Appendix A regarding the permitting process. Recommendation based on the testimony and evidence presented in this case number 2330. CESM, it is determined that the respondent is the owner of the record at the property located at 607 Queensbridge Drive, Lake Mary, in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession or control of the property, and in violation of the Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. It is further recommended that the special magistrate order the respondent to correct the violation on or before April 14th of 2023. In order to correct the violation, the respondent shall obtain the required permits for the cited violation. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. The respondent must also contact the inspector to verify compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Okay, I'm going to accept the electronic case file into the record. I'm going to find that notice was properly given to Archibald Cruz, and he is not present here today. And I'm going to find that the property is in violation of the stated county code for failure to have a permit for the fence, and order that respondent come into compliance by April 14th, 2023 by obtaining the required permits, or a fine in the amount of $50 a day will be imposed for each and every day thereafter. Thank you. Next case is 2331 CESM, Derwan Liu and A.O. Wang.
For the record, the name is Vicki Hathaway, Building Inspector. I presented a copy of this presentation to the clerk and request to be entered into record. Case number 2331 CESM is for property located at 627 Queensbridge Drive, Lake Mary, Florida, which is owned by Derwan Liu and Al Wang. The violation charged as Seminole County Code Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Description of the violation is installation of a fence without the required permits. This is a screenshot showing the initial inspection that was done on 9/19 of '22. Notice to the respondent went out the same day. Compliance date was given of 11/7/22. Follow-up inspections shown both the site visit and via computer. Results of the reinspection, the violation remains still on the property. This is a screenshot from the property appraiser's website showing that these are the owners of the property in question. The photograph showing the posting of the notice that was done for the hearing on 2/21 of '23. Here's a picture of the fence that was taken on 9/13 of '22. Also on 10/10/22 and 10/21 of '22. And also on 12/1 of '22. Violation remains as of 3/8 of '23. No permits have been issued to correct the violation of the fence. This is a copy of the Seminole County Chapter 40 Appendix A regarding the permitting process. The recommendation based on the testimony and evidence presented in this case number 2331 CESM, it's determined that the respondents are the record owners of the property located at 627 Queensbridge Drive, Lake Mary in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession or control of the property, and in violation of the Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. It is further recommended that the special magistrate order the respondent's correct the violation on or before April 14th of 2023. In order to correct the violation, the respondent shall obtain the required permits for the cited violation. If the respondents do not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. The respondents must contact the inspector to verify their compliance. This concludes my presentation.
I'm going to find in case number 23-31 CESM, I'm going to accept the electronic case file into the record. I'm going to find that notice was properly given to the property owner, and they are not here today. I'm going to find that there is a violation on the property for failure to have a fence permit, and order respondents to correct the violation on or before April 14th, 2023 by obtaining a permit for the fence. And if they do not obtain a permit by April 14th, 2023, a fine in the amount of $50 a day will be imposed for each and every day thereafter that the property remains in violation. Thank you. Next case, 23-32 CESM, Melissa and Michael Mitchell.
Long day. Okay, for the record, the name is Vicki Hathaway, Building Inspector. I presented a copy of this presentation to the clerk and request to be entered into record. Case number 2332 CESM for the property located at 2916 Quincy Court, Apopka, which is owned by Melissa and Michael Mitchell. The violation charge is Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Description of violation: exterior alterations including sheathing, window framing without the required permits. Case summary as follows. The initial inspection was done on 9/27 of 22. Notice to the respondent went out the same day, giving them a compliance date of 11/3/22. Follow-up inspections shown both on site visit and via computer. Results of reinspection: the violation remains on the property. This is a screenshot from the property appraiser's website that shows Melissa D. and Michael L. Mitchell are the record owners of the property. This is a photograph hearing posted hearing notice on the property 2/22 of 23. Exterior alterations taken on 9/16/22 photograph shows the exterior alterations. Again on 9/26 of 22. And again on 10/20 of 22. Exterior violations remain 3/8 of 23. No permits have been issued to correct the violations. This is a picture of the Seminole County Chapter 40 Appendix A regarding the permitting process. Recommendation: based on the testimony and the evidence presented in the case number 2332 CESM, is determined that the respondents are the record owners of the property located at 2916 Quincy Court, Apopka, in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession or control of the property, and in violation of the Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Further recommends that the special magistrate order the respondents to correct the violations on or before April 14th, 2023. In order to correct the violation, the respondents shall obtain the required permits for the cited violations. If the respondents do not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or repeated after the compliance. The respondents must contact the inspector to verify compliance. This concludes my presentation.
In case number 2332 CESM, I'm going to accept the electronic case file into the record and find that the property owners were properly notified of the hearing today, but they are not here. I'm going to find that there is a violation for exterior alterations and failure to have a permit for those exterior alterations. I'm going to order that the respondents come into compliance by April 14th, 2023 by obtaining the required permits for the exterior alterations, and if they do not come into compliance by April 14th, 2023, a fine in the amount of $50 a day will be imposed for each and every day thereafter that the violation remains. Thank you. Okay, next case, 2335 CESM SFR Investments v. Borrower. Oh, v. Borrower 1 LLC. Oh, so it's probably Investments 5, Borrower 1 LLC.
Vicki Hathaway, Building Inspector. I presented a copy of this presentation to the clerk and request to be entered into the record. This case, 2335 CESM, is for property located at 619 Queensbridge Drive, Lake Mary, Florida, which is owned by SFR Investments 5, Borrower 1 LLC. The violation charge is Seminole County Code Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Description of the violation is installation of a fence without the required permit. The screen shows the initial inspection that was done on 9/13 of '22. Notice to the respondent went out on 9/19 of '22, given a compliance date of 11/8 of '22. Follow-up inspections as shown both on on-site and via computer. Results of the inspection violation remains on the property. This is a screenshot of the property appraiser's website showing the investment company as being the owners of the record of property. This is the posted hearing notice on the property on 2/21 of '23. This is a picture of the fence that was taken on 9/13/22. And other pictures on 10/10 of '22, 10/21 of '22. Also of 12/1 of '22. Fence violation remains on the property as of 3/8 of 2023. No permits issued to correct the violation. No documents uploaded for review. This is a copy of the Seminole County Chapter 40, Appendix A regarding the permitting process. The recommendation, based on the testimony and evidence presented in the case number 2335 CESM, is determined that the respondent is the record owner of the property located at 619 Queensbridge Drive, Lake Mary, in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession or control of the property, and in violation of the Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Further recommends that the special magistrate order the respondent to correct the violation on or before April 14th of 2023. In order to correct the violation, the respondent shall obtain the required permits for the cited violation. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. The respondent must contact the inspector to verify compliance. This concludes my presentation.
The record is showing that there is an application that was submitted in February. Is that a fence permit application?
Oh, did I slide by it? Oh, I apologize. Okay. The application that they submitted to us has been voided due to the 12-day upload period in E-Plan. No other applications received to correct the violation. So once they upload something into E-Plan and they don't complete it, it just voids it out.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, I will, in case number 23-35 CESM, I will accept the electronic case file into the record. I will find that the property owner was properly noticed to be here today, however, they are not present. I will find that the property is in violation for failure to obtain the necessary permits for the fence on the property, and that the property must be brought into compliance by April 14th, 2023 by obtaining the proper permits for the fence, and if compliance is not achieved by April 14th, 2023, a fine in the amount of $50 a day will be imposed for each and every day thereafter that the violation remains. Thank you. Okay, the next case, 2337 CESM, Pedro Aquino and Elsa Avila.
For the record, Vicki Hathaway, Building Inspector. I presented a copy of this presentation to the clerk and request it be entered into the record. Case number 2337 CESM is for the property located at 647 Queensbridge Drive, Lake Mary, Florida, which is owned by Pedro Aquino and Elisa Avila. The violation charged of Seminole County Code Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Description of the violation, installation of a fence without the required permits. This is a picture of the initial inspection that was done on 9/13/22. Notice of the respondent went out on 9/19/22, giving them a compliance date of 12/26/22. Follow-up visit inspections via computer and also in person. Results of the inspection violation remains on the property. This is a picture of the property appraiser's website showing that these are the property owners in question. This is a photograph showing the posting of the notice that was for the hearing on the property. This is a picture of the unpermitted vinyl fence taken on 9/13/22. Also, there was a picture taken on 10/10 of 22. Pictures that were done on 12/1 of 22. Pictures on 12/30 of 22. Unpermitted vinyl fence violation remains on the property as of 3/8 of 2023. No permits issued to correct the violations. This is a copy of the Seminole County Chapter 40 Appendix A regarding the permitting process. Recommendation based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 2337 CESM. It's determined that the respondents are Pedro Aquino and Elisa Avila, the record owners of the property located at 647 Queensbridge Drive, Lake Mary, Florida, in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession or control of the property and in violation of the Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105. Further recommends that the special magistrate order the respondents to correct the violation on or before April 14th of 2023. In order to correct the violation, the respondents shall obtain the required permits for the cited violation. If the respondents do not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. The respondent must contact the inspector to verify compliance. Further recommend, excuse me. This concludes my presentation.
Okay, I will find in case number 2337, I will accept the electronic case file into the record and find that the property owner was properly noticed for the hearing here today and they are not present. I will find the property is in violation of the county's codes related to failure to obtain a permit for the fence on the property, and order that the property owners come to compliance by April 14th, 2023 by obtaining the required permits for the fence, and if they fail to come to compliance by obtaining the proper permits for the fence, that a fine in the amount of $50 a day will be imposed for each and every day that the violation remains. Thank you. And the final case, 2023-39 CESM D3C Homeowners Association Incorporated.
Okay, Vicki Hathaway, Building Inspector. I presented a copy of this presentation to the clerk and request to be entered into record. Case number 2339 CESM is for the property located at 533 Queensbridge Drive, Lake Mary, which is owned by D3C Homeowners Association, Inc. The violation charge is Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Description of the violation: installation of a black aluminum fence without the required permits. This is a picture showing the initial inspection was done on 10/12. Notice to the respondent went out on 10/13 of 22, given a compliance date of 12/15/22. Follow-up site visits, inspections, you can see as follows, and then also via computer as well. Reinspection shows that the violation remains on the property. This is a copy of the property appraiser's website that shows that D3C Homeowners Association, Inc. is the property owners. Posted hearing notice on the property at 2/21/23. Photo of the black aluminum fence taken on 10/12 of 22. Also one taken on 10/12 of 22. There's a picture here from 11/30 of 22. No permits issued to correct the violation per the permit screen here shown. This is a copy of the Seminole County Chapter 40 Appendix A regarding the permitting process. Recommendation based on the testimony and evidence presented in the case number 2339 CESM. It's determined that the respondents are the D3C Homeowners Association, Inc., the record owners of the property located at 533 Queensbridge Drive, Lake Mary in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession or control of the property, and also in violation of the Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Further recommends that the special magistrate order the respondent to correct the violation on or before April 14th of 2023. In order to correct the violation, the respondent shall obtain the required permits for the cited violation. If the respondents do not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. The respondent must contact the inspector to verify compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Okay, so the posting, it looks like it's on a notice box.
It is on
And
that one.
Is that on this property? It looks to me like the fence is in a yard or behind a house.
It's in a tract that's back there.
Okay.
There's no house. There's 2 addresses where the house should be, but they skipped that address. And when I spoke to Ruth, I said, well, I can't just get back there. I mean, I can't go access the property. So I posted it on the HOA's sign.
Okay,
Since
so
it is their, well, it's like their property. It's a
did we
tract
mail
back
it
there.
also, though?
It was mailed, yes.
Okay, can you provide me with the for the record, when it was mailed? And where it was mailed?
Okay. Okay, she's saying they're all returned,
Okay.
which is why, yeah.
Do you do regular mail also?
Certified and first class.
Certified and regular? So regular mails didn't return, but the green cards were returned.
I believe the first class mail was also returned.
Oh, okay.
The notice of hearing was mailed on February 2nd. Green card was not returned. It was mailed by certified mail, so.
And regular mail. So regular mail and certified mail to 651 Queenbridge. 651 Queenbridge is the mailing address for DSC Homeowners Association Incorporated, which is listed in the property appraiser's records as the address for notice to be received, and it was returned. Although it was sent to the proper location. This is a tract, the fence is around a tract in the, on the plat that is a vacant tract, or?
We're not sure where it is actually. You can't, the address 533 does not really exist. There is because I had to call in, there's a 519 and a 535, but there's no 533 address.
But the property appraiser lists its location as 533.
Yes.
Notice
Okay.
was also mailed to the registered
Agent?
of Bono and Associates at 640 East State Route 434, number 3000 Longwood, as detailed by the Sunbiz.
And that one was not returned?
No. No green card was returned.
But was the regular mail returned? Okay, so no green card was returned, but the mailing wasn't returned also? Okay, and then the regular mail was not returned on the registered agent?
Correct.
As well? Okay, and the sign of the homeowners association is that, can you give me some testimony about where that's located?
It's at the very front of the actual subdivision that faces inward when vehicles are leaving, that gives the notifications of HOA meetings and those
Okay.
types of things. Because I could not find the property location, and I had to ask one of the owners at 535, I said, is your address 535? This is the other address. I'm like, where's 533? He's like, there is none. He goes, that's a good question.
Okay, and this sign is at the beginning, is it in front of a building or anything?
It sits there, you come in and go out of the subdivision, so it's the only entrance into the subdivision to come in and out of. So it was
Okay.
posted there.
And this order, once we impose an order, will it be sent all of the same ways through the various mailings and to the registered agent as well? Okay. All right. I will go ahead and 2339 CESM. I will accept the electronic case file into the record. I will find that sufficient notice has been given in accordance with the statute to the address listed at the property appraisers, in the property appraiser's records for the property. And I will also note for the record that the county has attempted to provide notice through various other means, through posting, through mailing to the registered agent, and all of which are above and beyond what is required by the statute. However, no one has attended the hearing today. I will find that the property is in violation of the county's code for failure to have a permit for the fence located on the property, and that the property owner is ordered to come into compliance by April 14th, 2023, by obtaining the necessary permits for the fence, and failure to come into compliance by April 14th, 2023 will result in a $50 per day fine for each and every day that the violation remains. Thank you. Let me give these back to you. I'm going to keep these so that I can let
Keep it like a whip of it and like.
Kim know.
It's just not, you know.
Yeah, and I'll email her the decisions.
Okay.
So,
I don't know if he wants to shut this down. So I'll just-
And that way, if she asks me any questions, I can verify.
Yeah, if you want to grab some.
I do want to make sure that on the one with the crane, that